Hey, what's up, everybody?
Hey, what's up?
It's your boy Easy.
How's it going? How's it going? Guess what? You rule. Ryan Guy.
You rule. And we rule, apparently, I guess, somehow, according to some people. And and you're asking, who are we? And we are Turtle Soup, the world's only community-supported podcast, YouTube channel, conglomerate, global media outlet, source, mall. We're a lot of things. We wear a lot of hats. Well, Ryan does, because I can't wear hats. But
we're gonna find you a fitted one day.
One day I'll get a fitted hat. But that's not today. Today, we are Turtle Soup, world's only community-supported podcast dedicated to the ongoing journey of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, all the way from the beginning until do-wah diddy come diddy do ya diddy. Just diddy until Diddy gets diddy.
Come
diddy.
What?
There's a lot of diddies there. Let's just say that. There's a lot of ditties on the table. Very topical. Very topical. And so, I am enamored with this. So I don't know if I've talked to you about this because we haven't talked in a minute. But so I read everything that comes up on my phone screen, especially like on social media apps. And
you take it all as God's honest truth.
Oh, absolutely. So, and apparently it's a genetic thing with me because my grandmother would read like all the billboards and everything when they're driving. I'm doing this so you know what billboards are. And then my dad does the same thing, apparently. Because
like triple X hookers coming up in the next exit.
Exactly. Yes.
Triple X sex store. Cool.
The beaver never
sleeps. Want another cheddar biscuit?
Right.
So imagine she's got those in the car.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Other grandma, but still.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah. On my dad's side. And so, because reading on that side of the family wasn't very popular, so the few that could do it, they were superstars. So, anyway, but my wife was telling my family about how I read everything, and so that's how I found that out. But anyway, updating it now to modern day, modern problems and solutions. My TikTok algorithm is all over the place, and I found myself on Black TikTok a couple of months ago. And it's amazing. It's because it's like a whole new world. Like I'm like learning all this different stuff. And it's fascinating. And so I was getting that P. Diddy tip like way before any of this stuff blew up, because all these different people, like comedians and stuff like that, were in that culture and everything. We're talking about it, and it's like in the hip hop community and stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And I'm like, this is gonna blow up. And I kept telling people, I was like, I'd tell my wife, I'd tell Farmer Greg, I'd be like, have you heard about this? And they're like, no, I haven't heard anything about this. And all of a sudden it's like the FBI is raiding his house. It's like, geez, it's wild. So I don't know why I guess I just love justice. We do a podcast where crime fighters are actively working at achieving justice, and
where the good guys win and the bad guys lose.
Bad guys lose, exactly. And I love seeing the bad guys lose, and that's why I just get wrapped up in this. But you know what else I get wrapped up in, Ryan?
What's that?
YouTube. I just love it. It's fantastic. It's a wonderful platform. We don't get paid for that. You don't see the YouTube playlist over here yet because not enough of you have subscribed yet, but please subscribe. And
we can change that.
We need to change that. Yes. I think since the last time we did this, we had 1 subscriber. So thank you very much, whoever you were.
Yes. You're making the world go round.
Exactly. And so, but we're here on YouTube tonight, and usually every Thursday night, and all of our episodes are still up on YouTube from the past Thursday nights that we've done this. And so, this is a fun time. And if that's something that our audio listeners who should now be able to hear the audio again, at least.
Yes.
I don't know if the website's still working yet, but I got the audio fixed. It took some finagling, but you could always come here to YouTube and check that out, because that one seems to work more often. But regardless, that's where we're at. We're right here, right now. If you're here, please like and subscribe. And if you've already done that, well, thanks for joining us, and do whatever you can in the chat to get me and Ryan on the Chuckle Bus. Like, we appreciate every one of y'all that do that week in, week out, and it means a lot to us. But that's the highlight for me, is to see like, what is somebody else going to say on the internet that's going to get me going, you know what I mean? So please do that. That helps us out a lot, and it just means a lot that you're here. So I think the reason people are here, Ryan, is to know what we're covering tonight. So where are we at in the journey tonight?
Well, we have some very special people.
Oh, I forgot about these people. My goodness. My goodness, Ryan, I forgot about
Talking
it.
about how much things mean to you, and I was thinking, well, I mean, one thing that means a lot to me is these Patreon. I'm gonna do it now because
Do it. No, run me. No, it's fine.
you
Run
flew
me,
right by it, bro.
Run the train on me, Ryan.
I will run a train on you right
is
now.
Is that what the bus?
I can give you what the engine. I can give you the engine and the caboose of this train I'm gonna run on you.
Oh,
the engine's name is Evan Roberts.
Oh, he's in town now.
And before you forget that this steam train's coming, you got John Klein III on the caboose just running out the back. So like, he's waving at you on the way out. You know what I'm saying?
Always.
So those are two wonderful patrons, and you can have your name right on the show if you go to patreon.com and support the podcast. Thank you to all of our patrons. You guys are amazing as always, and keep the show from saying clang. Especially recently with our website issues, and hopefully with our new hosting, we should have no more problems with the problems that we had recently. And once again, to all of our audio listeners, thanks so much for your patience in all that, and hopefully for you guys on the hero's journey, you'll be able to resume now. So
so what happened?
I made a little video where I used my turn signal.
Oh, that's right. People were like all about that.
Everyone was all about that turn signal. Yeah,
absolutely.
No, I follow the rules.
Follow the rules. Abiding. So a little bit behind the curtain. Something happened where our site got like bombarded with traffic, and it basically overextended our bandwidth, and so we were shut down for the entire month, and so that instigated us to have to move servers. So we're trying to transition to Podbean, as it appears to be what we're going with now, and so we're making that transition. So if there's anything weird that's happening, just attribute it to that, but definitely let me know, like, if you can.
Hit us up on the Facebook group or email the podcast and let us know that something's going down, because that's how we found out the first time. Sadly, there's just our host was like, do better in April, and we're like, well, that sucks.
It did. So we had to do some juggling, but we couldn't have done it without the patrons, because
100% patrons make our dreams come.
True. Exactly. Yep. Pregnant pause in more ways than one. So I didn't have my notes up. That's why I went right past.
You flew right past them.
I flew right past them. So there we go. So Ryan, now that we've addressed the all of the most important parts of the episode out of the way, where are we at in the journey tonight?
Today. We are in February, the 20th and 27th of 1998. Covering our last two episodes that have anything to do with the Next Mutation. This is Power Rangers in Space, episodes 3 and 4, Save Our Ship and Shell Shocked, respectively. From, again, February of 1998. The last known appearance of the 5 green teens. Well, still teens. Just after. They're adults.
They're not teens,
aren't they?
They're adults. So, I guess they could be 19.
They could be 19.
So,
either way, but which, we'll get into this later, but you've seen and heard the last of our original cast, because they we'll get into this more, but this is our last visual appearance of the Next Mutation Turtles, and so we're kind of closing a chapter this week on the podcast. And moving into, I believe, toys next week, which is, I'm really looking forward to. We've not done a toy episode in a really long time. That gets us on the Chuckle Bus. I'm really excited about that. But we got to close this chapter. And this is interesting because this episode is going to be a lot about the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which I know Eric has been looking forward to for a very long time, ever since I remember putting this on our original spreadsheet. And I remember you being like, this is way back, when the show started, and you were "Oh hell yeah!" And I was like, "I'm like, well, that's going to be a million years." And look, here it is. You know what I'm saying?
It is a million years later.
A million years later. So that's what we're covering today. So, Eric, how have you been, my man?
Oh my goodness! Besides all the craziness with the website and everything, I've been doing well. Let's see. There's a couple things that have been going on. So, I went and saw the Smoking Popes, which I was really excited about. They're a band I've loved for a while, and they came through town, and that was really neat. It was at the new Orpheum. I don't know if you've been there yet.
I have not been there.
It's bigger, but it's out in a like further away from Ybor, because it was always in Ybor City.
Yeah, it was right there. Yeah.
Now it's out near Seminole Heights or whatever, but like it's in a bigger area. And that was my first show there, because Shannon and my wife and I had gone to an Oddities festival there, and it was a little too packed and too many bones, literal, like alive and dead. And yeah, but seeing a show there was great. Everything sounded good, and they were awesome. And yeah, that was a lot of fun. And then for some reason, I had a hankering for some Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Did you ever watch that? Did you ever get into that?
Oh, I watched the hell out of that. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Something about it, like, it just, I was like, man, I want something that's so unhinged that is like, that I can kind of just
that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, and it's just absurd, and it is just as absurd as I remembered it. In fact, I didn't realize like the little part at the beginning with the scientist guy. I always forgot that like that's every episode, and it somehow ties into the episode. I always forgot that until recently, and so we made it through season 1, and I don't know that we've started season 2 yet, but we've been just dining on that and just loving that. Commence the jiggling. And and Shannon's just filled with quotes from these shows. Like she won't remember anything else, like nothing important, but she can quote like every Family Guy and Simpsons and Aqua Teen, all that stuff. Just try her, because she'll have it right there off the cuff.
Yeah, nice.
So and then besides that, you and I have been working on Creeps Anonymous, our little punk project, I guess you can call it. And that's been a lot of fun.
Bringing that to a stage, which I'm really excited about. This is something that we've worked on for years, releasing little EPs. You can go to Bandcamp and search up Creeps Anonymous, and that's where it all lives.
Yeah.
And we've been doing that for so long, and we've decided to do it live. So we got my brother Shane back on drums. He's warming up right now, which has been working out for him really well. He says that, he's got a lot of it back, which is cool. And I've been doing a bunch of work on my bass guitar. I'm changing out the pickups and doing a lot of really cool stuff I'm really excited about to start getting going. And that's been kind of dominating me lately, honestly.
Yeah.
Just the Creep stuff, because I'm just really excited to play it.
Yeah, it's really fun. You've probably heard a bunch of the songs at the end of the episode between the post game, like the regular show, and then the post game. That's usually where we throw a bunch of that stuff. And it's a lot of fun. And I was really happy because I had this idea in my head that I wanted what I wanted the logo to be. And I found like the character that I was like kind of inspired by, and I was able to make it change it enough to where it's an homage, but not necessarily a ripoff. And I'm really excited about it. And just all of the appropriation ideas that I've got for the imagery for this show, or for this project. But I'm really excited about it. But I believe I don't want to give away too much of the stuff, but I believe we've discussed that we're going to be, as the name entails, we're going to try to be as anonymous as possible. And that I'm trying to figure out how best I could perform, as well as mask my identity, if you will.
Yeah.
And
I got a welding hood that because I was in a metal band back in the day, and I wore just a plain. The band was called Subfix. We played like 5 or 6 shows, but we like wrote a whole album worth of shit. It was like a lot of fun. I played bass on that too, and we played a bunch of shows, and I just wore just an unadorned like welding hood, just a black welding hood. The problem was back then, you could buy like hoods that auto darkened, like where it looked like sunglasses, then it auto darkens,
right?
But they were really, really expensive. So the welding hood we had at the shop, which is the one I wore, was just a permanently black like lens, like you couldn't see anything unless you were arc welding. So I actually removed it, and I cut a piece of cutting shield that you put over, like if you're just using like a blade to cut steel, that was tinted like sunglasses, like green. And I cut that out and put it in the slot, so it looked dark but I could see the bass.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay.
And so I played with that. Then I got kind of re-inspired Well, now auto darkening hoods are like
Mm-hmm.
$70 about,
Oh,
which are
is that
way
cheap?
cheaper than they used
Oh,
to
okay.
be. Oh my god, dude! They used to be like hundreds. They used to be like 300 or
Hmm.
$400 to start.
Man.
And I was thinking, you know what? Like, also, so it serves a second purpose as well because I can look at eclipses with it.
Oh,
So
yeah,
that's
and that's
cool.
very topical.
So yeah, so like, I did that with my old hood, but I started getting worried because the original glass in that was kind of scratched, and I was kind of
Yeah.
worried some stuff was getting through.
Right.
But with this one, it's all new. So I actually it's right over here. I'll probably grab it. Give me a second.
Oh, okay. I'll give you a second. This is all sounding like a capital idea. I'm like super excited about it, and the only thing I'm concerned about is the heat. Ryan can't hear me now, so yeah. Actually, I don't have anything to say what that he wouldn't already know, so there's nothing really to say. But
Sorry, like there's a few things that happen. One of which is I don't know what it is with this headphone cable,
yeah.
but it gets caught under the leg of my chair
Oh,
so
geez.
much,
Yeah.
and like I roll over it constantly, and it like kills me.
Oh, it's the worst.
So I took this and
Ooh.
I
Okay.
drilled holes
Yeah.
in the front right here for ventilation, and so you can hear me.
Oh my goodness. Did you do that by hand?
Yeah.
Oh, that looks like almost perfectly symmetrical from here, but like
So
we're
it is.
away.
I took a piece of graph paper
Yeah. Oh, as you
and I
do.
laid out the things, and then
Yeah.
I taped it to this and used an awl to poke through the holes,
Mm-hmm.
and then a hand drill to get through it. So it is
Yeah.
pretty close to like
It
kind of perfect.
That's impressive.
So I
That's
painted it
amazing.
white. And the obviously the glass is here, but it's covered with masking tape.
Right, right.
And I'm gonna spray paint and airbrush across the front some stuff around the mouth.
Oh, that's legit.
But I'm gonna use stencils to make sure the letters are even.
Okay.
And yeah, I tested the ventilation. Now, I don't know if you'll be able to hear me sing through this.
Yeah.
That is yet to be determined.
Right, right.
But if not, I was just going to wear it like
Yeah.
this, and then just like go on top of the mic with it.
Of course. Yeah, 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 exactly.
Like it just like sing like that, kind of like just
Yeah.
angle the mic completely up,
Right.
and then just like walk up to it and just like go over it like this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And sing like that.
Sure, that'll work. That'd be fine.
But this helps. But see, this helps because before when I was wearing it and I was messing around, it would fog up like the glass, which super sucked because I
Right.
started not being able to see. But
Yeah.
when I drilled these holes, that completely stopped that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I painted it white, and I'm pretty excited about it.
That's awesome.
So it's gonna look like super weird. Like it looks
Yeah.
like it's something how a welding hood looks like a welding hood until you paint it white, then it looks like a space helmet.
It does look like a space helmet. Yeah, absolutely. Like, yeah, that's
like
very
it
weird.
completely changes the look of it. Which
Absolutely.
is crazy. But anyway, yeah, that's what I've been working on.
Oh, that's cool. It kind of looks like an old school CRT or whatever it was called monitor, like a computer.
Yeah,
monitor
yeah, no, it
from the
does look like
side.
because it's got like the
It
face.
kind of looks like a weird thing that you'd see at like a magnet school or something. Like they got some weird computer they're playing.
some weird TV. Well, maybe if I get back a little bit.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, it still looks cool, but it's just on the side. It just reminded me of that. But that's still that looks awesome.
Yeah.
I take it you have a strap on for the back of it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
No, I took that whole assembly apart
Okay.
and took it off because I didn't want to paint it.
Oh, of course. Yeah, it makes sense. That's
and
awesome.
stuff. But then I'm really excited too. I painted a pick guard for my base.
Oh,
like
that's
a
cool.
like a surf green kind of color.
Ooh.
And so that's curing right now. So yeah,
What
I'll
color-
have a PJ.
What color
done with
is
this.
the body of your base?
Black.
Oh,
It's the Getty Lee jazz bass, so it's black.
That's right. Okay, I remember now.
I had a white. It came with a white pick guard.
Yeah.
Then I switched it out to a black one
Mm,
a little while ago. Now it's going to be like a surf green color.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
Capital.
I'm really excited.
Yeah.
That's capital. Yeah.
Capital idea.
But
Capital.
yeah, Creeps has
yeah.
been all in my head. The only other thing that's been in my head is the raise.
The
raise up.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Raise up, baby.
Raise up.
Opening day. That's
Yeah.
why I missed the podcast last week. Full transparency.
Oh, there
I
you
had
go.
tickets to opening day, so I went to go see the Rays. We lost kind of a clunker game, which is unfortunate. Then we won our next two. Then I went to the game on Sunday, and we lost that game. It was
Well,
a
you know what that
blowout.
means, Ryan.
I can't go to games.
You can't go to games.
So we're right now, we're 3-4. We're a game under 500, which is not great, but we are headed to Colorado, where the Coors effect of Coors Field should help our warning track flyouts become home runs. Did you know that balls go farther in Colorado?
I did not.
They literally do.
They would go higher.
The air is thinner.
Oh, okay.
So it literally there's a thing called the Coors effect.
Interesting.
Where batters, that the ball goes farther. So you can hit more homers.
That. That's the thing I love about, like, I wish there was more of that in sports, that like you have to deal with like the topography and like all the stuff that's native to that area. And that impacts the game. I love that. That would just make the game so much more interesting.
I mean, they kind of have it. So what's one thing that I think I love about baseball, and I'll show about baseball. One thing I love about baseball is the fact that all the stadiums are different. Like the dimensions of the field are different. So like what's a home run at Yankee Stadium is not a home run at our park. That's like, for example, like, so if you hit one just over the rail, like just over the rail to right field in Yankee Stadium, they have what's called the short porch. And Babe Ruth, they built it for Babe Ruth because he would pull balls over to left field, or sorry, right field. And they actually literally made it shorter so balls would go out and be home runs for Babe Ruth. Literally. So when they built the new Yankee Stadium, they kept those same dimensions. So they have the short porch, which is a big thing there. I think I already showed you this on the podcast, but in at Fenway in Boston, they have the Green Monster, which is just gigantic wall. In at Wrigley, they have ivy that covers the back walls, and balls get stuck in it. Stuff like that happens. Used to be, I can't remember what stadium it was. Used to have a flagpole in center field, like that's technically in play. And it went up this like ramp, and like guys would run up a ramp and catch a ball, and there'd be a flagpole there, and you could like hit the flagpole. They all have like weird stuff. So that's actually one really cool thing about baseball. All the stadiums have different dimensions. It's not like football where you play on the gridiron and that's all it is. You know what I mean? Different stadiums have different like wind conditions and stuff. So like in some stadiums, like especially in Chicago, like the wind is so strong that like home runs to a certain part of the ballpark are easier than to other parts of the ballpark because the wind's blowing against you. Like it's just crazy.
That is neat. I love that stuff. I just wish there was more of it.
But no, it's been fun to have a baseball to watch every night. That's cool. And the Rays, normally they're very considerate about Thursday nights. They rarely play on Thursday night, which I just thought as a tacit approval of our podcast.
Right. Exactly.
Except that opening day. Like today they're flying to Colorado. So don't got that. But yeah, baseball season's back. I'm a happy guy.
That's cool.
And also really fast, condolences to Oakland. Did you hear about what's going on with the Athletics?
No, I did not. This
is really sad. So Oakland, they wanted a new stadium because the Coliseum is one of the worst stadiums in the country.
Okay.
This stadium infamously had a rat problem.
Oh.
So they introduced cats to kill the rats. Now they have a cat problem.
That's a good problem to have, potentially.
But they're strays. They're feral. They're not feral. Because they've had generations of them there.
Right.
So they're feral. So they're not cool cats.
Dang.
They also have a possum problem. And apparently the possums and cats just coexist. I think broadcasters for the Yankees were in the visiting broadcasters booth, and a possum fell through the ceiling during a broadcast last year.
That's so good.
Yeah, no. There's seats you can get where you can't see the field. It's insane. It was the old stadium that was built for football and baseball. And so anyway, so they announced they wanted a new stadium a while back, and they didn't get it. The city of Oakland, they couldn't come to terms.
Yeah.
And then they figured out they're going to move to Vegas.
Oh.
And Vegas is going to build them a stadium. Now that got the Oakland fans super pissed.
Yeah.
So they've been doing all kind of demonstrations. Like for opening day this year, they all bought tickets, but all sat in the parking lot.
Oh, dang.
So there was like 3,000 people in the stadium. Last year, they just would do strikes on games and not show up, and no one will be there.
I love that.
When we were there, they packed the stadium and then didn't cheer. And that was the weirdest freaking game to watch. I'm watching that game full of like green and yellow jerseys.
Right.
No one cheers except I think in the third inning they did like a stay in Oakland chant, and then they stopped. And I was like, that's weird. It was like a silence. Anyway.
Yeah.
So it's awkward because they're going to move to Oakland in 2028.
Or Vegas.
But they have to move to Vegas. Yeah, but they have to stay in Oakland for like all these years.
Yeah.
And it's
knowing
really
that
hostile.
That's happening. Yeah, that's
super hostile. So today they just announced we're moving to Sacramento until then. This will be our last year in Oakland. We're going to go to Sacramento and play in a AAA ballpark for a minor league team. We're going to share.
To avoid all that.
Just to literally, we're just going to play in Sacramento. Thank you.
Goodness. All the drama.
So now Oakland fans knew they had 3 years. 4 years left. But now this is their last season.
Yeah.
At the Coliseum. So if you're an Oakland A's fan, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry that you lost your team. I'm so sorry that you lost the remaining years of having your team. Right. And it's just, it's really crappy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not capital at all. That's the opposite.
That is not capital. That's capital crimes.
Capital crimes.
Yeah.
There you go. But and I want to extend some condolences to our listeners who are saddened that we will be concluding our coverage of Next Mutation live action stuff. That is, we got one more episode with Next Mutation characters, but just in the toy form. But
all three of you. We're sorry.
Well, yeah. So you wanna hop into this? You ready to dive in?
Let's do it.
Excuse me. All right. Let me get ready. I'm not ready. You'd think I'd be ready, but I'm not.
This is a big episode for you, brother.
It is. I got a lot of talking points and a lot of things.
Yeah.
So but as we are to do here at Turtle Soup, anytime we forge ahead into new territory or even revisit territory or just decide that we want to, we have a segment that is usually helmed by none other than old dad Ryan Guy. And it's called So Basically. And that's where we recount the events. But since we've been so dedicated to the journey of the Next Mutation for so long, and there's only been so many episodes of that, you can easily go back to that. But the new territory that we're forging now is into the realm of Power Rangers.
Yes.
And now the Power Rangers are no stranger to Turtle Soup because Ryan and I, way back in the day, were going through Super Sentai for a while, and that was a lot of fun. And we talked about these shows a lot. But
Top Satan.
So many good things from those episodes, and this brought back a lot of that. And because what I was doing back in the day was I was watching the Sentai, and then I'd go and I'd watch the season of Rangers, and then go through it.
Yeah.
And I think I made it one or two past this season, but anyway, gonna run down some facts, some history, some So Basically stuff for you real quick. So just bear with us, but we'll get there, baby birds. So don't worry. So here we go. So basically, 1975 saw the creation. In the beginning, saw the creation of the Japanese superhero team series known as Super Sentai, which essentially Sentai means task force or fighting squadron, and it's of the tokusatsu genre of films, which is essentially just like Godzilla type stuff, where it's live action characters and special effects. So if you've seen a Godzilla movie,
so like back in the day, like Ultraman and that kind of stuff, it would be tokusatsu.
Yeah, all of that. And so
Ghost Rider in the US.
Right. So or in Toku for short. Here in America, it is best known as the source material for the Power Rangers series. In the early 90s, Haim Saban, which has basically been like the curator of all of our childhoods that are like people that are in our early 40s. He had a hand in pretty much everything in children's programming, and especially once Power Rangers took off and was a hit. That was the big claim to fame. And then any other Toku series that we saw, like Big Bad Beetleborgs and what was the other one? VR Troopers, things like that. Those were all brought over by him, if I'm not mistaken. And then I think he had something to do with the Marvel stuff too. So like the X-Men animated and Spider-Man animated series too. So yeah, so he's well known in children's programmings. But he'd been trying to import the show and adapt it from for an American audience, but it never really took off until he brought over Kuro Sentai's Zoo Ranger in 1993 and adapted it to be Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And as most of us well know, to say it was a huge success is an understatement. But Power Rangers, oddly enough, is still on the air as of this recording. Let's see, it's season 30 is about to start with Cosmic Fury, is what it's called. And
wow,
that's nuts. And so, yeah, there are talks about a reboot, and some people are saying it's going to be animation and whatnot. But nevertheless, there is still a bunch of continuity, even though it's loose. After 6 seasons, I think it still ties into it. So we're going to run through the seasons real quick to get you there, because what we are going to be focusing on tonight is season 6. So here we go. I'm going to try to blow through it. So season 1, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers begins with some astronauts uncovering an extraterrestrial container that releases Rita Repulsa and her crew after 10,000 years, and she decides to conquer Earth. Zordon, an extra-dimensional floating head being or something, who just so happens to be the one who captured Rita, just so happens to reside in Angel Grove, California. He tells his robotic assistant, exactly. That's not a bad impersonation of him.
No, it's not.
But he tells his assistant Alpha 5 to procure 5 teenagers with attitude to defend the Earth. The show features comedic relief from characters such as Bulk and Skull as the buffoon, bully type characters, and they stick around for a very long time, and they are in at least the first episode that we're going to be reviewing tonight. Then eventually Tommy Oliver shows up, and Rita makes him the Green Ranger, and this totally changes everything and awakens a lot of our
JDF. It turned everybody
sexualities. Yeah, just made us all. Just Kimberly and
if Kimberly didn't do it for you, Tommy did.
Tommy did, and I was somewhere in the middle. I think I was like, I don't know if I like him or I just think he's cool. I don't know. I still don't know to this day. I couldn't tell you. But what I can tell you is that season 2 starts with Tommy eventually losing his Green Ranger powers, and he gets the White Ranger Tiger power. Yeah, that's me being the Zord, because it's all it's all weird looking, but I love it. And the Power Rangers get new Zords, but keep their MMPR Zoo Ranger suits. The original red, black, and yellow Ranger actors are replaced due to money in the in real life. And an intergalactic warlord named Lord Zed shows up and is Rita's superior. Eventually, they get married and join forces. So season 3 starts. New villains and allies show up. Power Rangers lose their original powers, get new ones. Specifically, they get new coins to access the power grid and thus get their powers. The original Pink Ranger is replaced far more gracefully than the previous exits, leaving only Billy and Tommy remaining of the original ones. After many failed attempts at besting the Rangers, Rita's father, Master Vile, which, they had to be self-gloss, right? Like, that can't be their
name.
Shows up and turns the Rangers into children, which is like high villainy, just de-aging people. I mean, it sounds cool on paper, but it's probably a nightmare. So this brings about season 3.5, which is referred to as the Mighty Morphin Alien Rangers, which is based off of, Kaku Ranger. I almost lost it. And I love these suits, and I love this team. They're so great. On the Sentai side, the American side is a little weird. It's a little cobbled together, but that's because they're taking the footage and mashing it up. Anyway, so we have the Mighty Morphin Alien Rangers. The Rangers can't morph because they're children, so Zordon calls the Alien Rangers from the planet Aquitar to help. But Earth's atmosphere or something is inhospitable to them, so they can't stay long. So they just keep going back and forth and doing all this weird shit. Zordon realizes that he has to use the Zeo Crystal to restore everything to normal, but also keep it from the bad guys. Time travel happens. We get a new Yellow Ranger. Everything is restored. However, the bad guys steal the Zeo Crystal and blow up the command center. Season 4. Yep. And by the way, the command center is actually still a building you can go visit in California. Like, it's still there. Like, and one day when I get back out there,
observatory, right?
It is. One day when we go back out there, I'm gonna definitely go check that out because that's, I don't know. I don't have many landmark things
Legendary.
that I want to go see.
Yeah.
But like that's something that if I saw, I would weep. Just totally weep. So season 4, Power Rangers Zeo, which has one of the best intros. Like that song, they just make it. You didn't, if you thought that the regular Rangers song was fantastic, this one's just way better, and it's so good. So, plot twist, the bad guys drop the Zeo Crystal in the explosion, and the Power Rangers become the Zeo Rangers. Billy, the original Blue Ranger, moves into a technical advisor role instead of a ranger, and new baddies show up in the form of the Machine Empire, and causing Rita and Zed to flee. So, at this point, Bulk and Skull are now junior police force members, so they keep changing their roles as the seasons go on, which I always loved that they stuck around and that they were like a through line of this show. So, Billy leaves eventually to stay on Aquitar to deal with his health issues, and he's hot for one of the alien rangers. Zed and Rita eventually get their revenge on the Machine Empire and leave it in shambles. This is the first season that starts the annual suit changes, much like Sentai does, that every year they just start with a new season, new suits. And this is where we start saying, okay, yeah, we'll switch out the suits. Season 5, Power Rangers Turbo. We start the season with a movie, which is decidedly not as good as the original Power Rangers movie, but is more in continuity than that one was. And we get introduced to Divatox, an intergalactic space pirate who's trying to free her fiancé, a demon named Malagor. Also, Divatox's nephew is Elgar, who shows up in these episodes and in this series in space.
Yeah.
So Zordon and Alpha create new powers for the Rangers to defeat Divatox. On the show, Zordon and Alpha peace out and are replaced by Demetria and Alpha 6, who we also meet in this season that we're about to review, as the Rangers' mentors. This season sees the exit of all the previous Rangers and are replaced with new faces, most of whom become the In-Space Rangers, which is like nuts because now all the original cast is gone and we got a whole new team. And so then let's see where we at. So we get introduced to a new villain named Dark Spectre who captures Zordon. Divatox eventually finds the power chamber and destroys it, thus defeating the team, but is called away before she can finish them. The powerless Rangers leave Earth and head to space to save Zordon. So season 6, Power Rangers in Space, which is where we're at tonight. This season is basically the conclusion of all of the shows before it. So like the Zordon era is essentially what they call this. It also ends the practice of having regular cast members returning for consecutive seasons. And it also brings to conclusion the Zordon storyline. The suits are based on the Sentai series Denji Sentai Mega Ranger, but it bears like very little resemblance to anything in that show. That show was more like about technology and their helmets. Like there's a little like circle on their helmets. And there's this weird like hologram that would show up on it, and it would be like their powers or something. Like it would show a computer or like a drill or something in Sentai. I can't remember if it did in the Power Ranger show, but like still, so much stuff was just cobbled together from this thing, and it just really didn't add up to what Mega Ranger was doing. But anyway. The show starts off with Zordon still being captured by Dark Spectre, who is draining his powers. We meet a mysterious Red Ranger who Dark Spectre puts a hit on and orders Astronema to take him out. Now, we meet a bunch of these characters these 2 episodes, so don't worry, baby birds. And meanwhile, meanwhile, the former Turbo Rangers and Alpha 6 get a Nazda space shuttle and try to save Zordon. And they meet up with Andros, the mysterious Red Space Ranger. They realize they're on the same side trying to save Zordon, and so he gives them their astromorphers, and basically the show is them searching for Zordon and protecting Earth. So that's so basically that. If you've never seen Power Rangers, that's pretty much going to get you.
You got it
where you need to be. You got it. So thank you for allowing me to do that, everybody. That meant a lot.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's a good catch up.
Yeah, so I thought it was okay. I think I did. I didn't geek out too much about some of the stuff.
No. But it's cool. It's such a storied show, and it has such a wildly long history.
Yeah,
and it's so unique to the Power Rangers side of it being adapted, from something made overseas.
Right.
And a lot of us back in the day with Power Rangers, I didn't know that. Like I didn't know
really?
that wasn't like all shot. No, I mean like when I first saw it as a kid.
No,
I was in like 6th grade. Like why would I know? Like to me, it was like oh, okay. Because I remember like Ultraman and stuff like that. Like I'd
Mm-hmm.
seen some stuff like that before,
Yeah.
but like I didn't know that like those cast members weren't in those suits. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah.
Doing
Yeah.
the fighting. I didn't know that it was like adapted, and the in person like diegetic stuff with the live actors was like shot and added. I didn't know all that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Until later, and so it's just so unique.
Mm.
Of a premise, and the fact that it just keeps going is like
Yeah.
wild. Yeah.
Yeah. And the fact that it worked was what
Yeah.
was wild to me, because they tried to do it before with one of the Sentai series before it, and it just nobody was believing in it, and then somebody gave him a chance, and then they aired it, and then it just became a phenomenon. Like,
It had this feeling. It had this feeling of I think the big thing that they touched on that it made it really work was the same kind of stuff that we were raised on. It was in the same language. So
okay.
like it was in the language of the X-Men, right? It's the teens, right?
Yeah.
Like and stuff like that. Whereas like I mean a lot of us grew up on watching shows that were not about teens, right? Like so a lot of us grew up watching, you know, I mean, just start naming it. Like all the cartoons, Thundercats, G.I. Joe, those weren't
He-Man.
kids.
Yeah.
Like you know, He-Man, they were adults, right?
Yeah.
And they were cool. But like right as we were entering our adolescence,
yeah.
all of a sudden, like X-Men 92, you know, all this stuff starts to become about a lot of the Fox shows become
Ninja
about
Turtles.
like Spider-Man, Ninja Turtles. Like and but the thing about live action, and the thing about Mighty Morphin that I think just made it set the fuck, like it just blew the hell up, was it gave us live action versions of that to root for. And it was shot in that same style of like a multi-camera or sorry, a single camera Saved by the Bell almost. Like it had drama in it. It had teens that you could have a crush on, right? So I think it hit a home run in our generation because, like you're saying about the Awakening, right when that thing comes on, we were too young for Beverly Hills 90210. Really, like our generation, like we were kind of too young for it. Like we would see it,
and I could watch it, but like,
and we could watch it, but like those were, it just wasn't made for us. Like it just was not made for us.
No.
A lot of us may have gotten Freaks and Geeks, you know what I mean? Although I didn't really, you know, we didn't get that down here for a long time, in the US. So Saved by the Bell was kind of what you had as far as like like young adolescent teen drama.
And then a little bit of TGIF, but that was with
like, a little bit of TGIF. Yes. No, we can't forget, you know, Jeff Franklin and all those shows, but those were family shows,
right?
You had mom and dad, just like you had the kids, right? So yes, and those are important too. But it was just a really weird singularity and a really weird synchronicity in time, where all of a sudden we got our people to crush on and to admire. You know what I mean? You wanted Tommy to be your best friend. You wanted, you know, Kimberly to be your girlfriend. Like, you know, you that like and everyone had their own things. I mean, I remember having friends that were like Billy, like all day Billy.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
I think that was a very important thing, is you had the archetypes that you could assign to in your own life.
Yes. Like, and it shared a lot with the Turtles. But the Turtles never there was always a layer, right, between you and the Turtles. They weren't human, right? I mean, like they had a human kind of stuff, and they never really went deep until way more recently on like the Turtles, like, you know, like day-to-day like drama stuff.
Yeah.
So Mighty Morphin, I think, was just huge for people of our generation because, like you're saying, the Awakening, but also like they were a little group and they got together at the juice bar and they like did this and that, and then they went and fought these aliens. And I think it put the human connection in. I think that's where Saban hit the home run.
Absolutely.
Is he put the human connection in, and you cared. I remember like watching that crap. I remember watching it. My dad had his like first shop, right? It was like really small. And he used to take me to school in 6th grade, right? But I had to go into work with him first because school started a little later. So we go to work, and I'd sit there and drink sweet tea that my grandfather brought in, and I would watch Mighty Morphin in the morning on, I swear to God, Eric, the smallest CRT TV that existed. It was honestly maybe as big as
dang.
my head.
Yeah.
Like if I like put my head up through the screen,
right,
maybe as big as like the top of my head. It was that big.
Okay.
And it was had the rabbit ears.
Yeah.
I would sit there and watch Mighty Morphin every day before 6th grade on that little TV, and go into school and then like talking to people about that episode that morning, which everyone had watched. Like,
right.
It was also one of our first experiences having that water cooler show, like where like you were on it, and like kids at school were talking about it. Like, and so you better be caught up. You better like. I remember if something happened and I missed that episode that morning, it was always like, well, I was a step behind. Like, you know what I mean? And back in the day, of course, there was no way to go back and watch it. Like, you were just like boned on that one. So yeah, I'm bringing the whole thing to a close. Just saying, I think it hit that same vibe as X-Men hit for us. Yeah. Even though X-Men wasn't made for us, it was reintroduced to us in a new way, right? And in the Jim Lee era, right at the right time. So everyone's out there, you're crushing on Rogue, you're crushing on Wolverine, Gambit, whatever. Same thing with this show. It brought all that to us, and it was such a monumental thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So checking in with the chat and everything. Yeah, it seems like a lot of y'all also have some fond memories, and Jake Niehaus is saying that as a kid he could remember that there was a difference in the quality of how things were filmed when it came to the kids as opposed to the fighting scenes, and then not until later discovered that it was adapted. See, that's something that I noticed pretty early on, and I kind of somehow, and again, I could be just like looking back and projecting on it back then, but like I kind of felt like I was like, something feels like this is like taken from something else, but I just don't know to what extent it was. And so that was something that I always appreciated and loved, and found like an aesthetic that I like watching the Sentai series. Like it's all has that film quality to it, and that I just like love when you go through and you watch the series, like, you know, as unadapted, and it's delightful. Ryan Ragland saying that he heard Stan Lee tried it before. Haim Saban. Stan Lee went over there, and I think he saw the potential. They gave Spider-Man, which he's around here somewhere. The Japanese Spider-Man, Spider-Man, I think is how they pronounced it, and where he's from Hell, and he has a giant mech called Leopardon, and it's fantastic and wonderful, but it just, something about it was just too much that they couldn't bring it over, or it just didn't really work over here too well. And from what I remember, but yeah, and then Ryan Ragland's asking about where they can watch the original Sentai. I will get with you on Facebook, because I don't know how much we can give that away, but there are ways to watch it. But there
might be an uncle involved.
But also I think Tubi has a bunch of it. Like, and YouTube might even actually have a bunch of it too. So
I know as far as Mighty Morphin and like the American Power Rangers goes, like you can just find all that there, because I mean,
they're up there, but
it's up there.
but there's some other sites too that you can go to get other Sentai adjacent things like Kamen Rider and stuff like that I had to use. I remember watching it the day it came out. I remember like all the commercials coming up for it and all the ads, and I was enamored. I loved it and just wanted it so bad. But the thing that disconnected me from it was the action figures, that they were about 8 inches tall, and they were not like to scale, in the sense of like, I can understand if the Zords are maybe like 12 inches tall.
Sure,
and the figures are 6 inches, or even 5 inches. That's fine. But the 8-inch thing, it felt more like a doll, I guess. Like
an old G.I. Joe.
Yes,
is what they feel like to me.
And I'm not saying like doll, like
that was not
like
my scale back in the day.
As in like it's for girls or whatever, but just in the scale, like I didn't like
the scale is wrong.
I'm not used to anything over 6 inches, like when it comes to just really anything that I can put my hands on. Like I'm just not used to that. And I'm not a fan of it. Even at 10, I just wasn't a fan of it. But like you give me one,
except for Thundercats.
Thundercats
were okay.
Except for a few Thundercats, you're absolutely right. Yeah, the cat is what brought me to the table. Like the cat.
Yeah, Thundercats can be a different scale. It's okay.
It could be a different scale. That's fine.
Superhuman.
But exactly. But then you give them, you make them like 6 inches, and I'll buy every single one of
Yeah.
them. So that's just how it goes. But I remember loving the Zords, and I remember going and seeing the movie and thinking the movie was fantastic. And it has a style to it that is
it does.
Just delightful, and for some reason to me. And then the soundtrack was fun, and I loved just how they made the armor or the suits look like actual armor. And I thought that was like amazing. But
that movie money. Oh shit.
Oh yeah, and then I loved the new Rangers, like the new actors that came in. Like there was just a lot that I loved about it, and I had a few of the Zords, but it was also right around the time when I was getting out of certain action figure collecting. I think I stayed on with X-Men and Spider-Man stuff, but anything else I kind of like let it go. And yeah, that was about the extent of it. But I do also very, very fondly remember their crossover with Kamen Rider, where or Masked Rider, if you will, where Masked Rider, Black RX shows up as what's his name? I forget what his name is, but he shows up in season 2 or 3, I think, and yeah, and he partners up with the Rangers for a couple episodes, and then they start his series, which unfortunately didn't take off, but it was kind of garbage anyway. But that started my love for that I didn't fully actualize until way later. But here we are. So In Space was the last. I think it was the last actual series that I was watching when it came out. I think I watched a good portion of it and then just fell off because I was probably falling off in Turbo a little bit and then just kept up with a little bit of this. But I definitely remembered this crossover, like just because I was like, oh, now I wasn't watching Next Mutation. I remember seeing a few episodes here and there, but it just wasn't doing anything for me as a kid. And then I remember them doing this, and I was just like, okay, yeah, I'm in. Like this is awesome. Like I want to watch this. And so I definitely remember seeing this. But yeah, so let's go ahead and get into it. So we're gonna start with Save Our Ship. So let me
Save Our Ship.
Let me get that all going. Here we go. All right. So Power Ranger Saban's Power Ranger. There's an apostrophe S on that name.
So Saban's. It's my
Saban's
shit.
Power Rangers in Space. And they dropped the Mighty Morphin, and they just getting straight to the point. Power Rangers in Space, and I love how to the point it is. It's just they're in space, and that's it.
It's almost like it's seriously like very retro, even for the time.
Yeah,
that name was very retro, and I think it is a nod back.
Yeah, it has to be.
It's a nod back to like Buck Rogers in space, and
right.
That, I really think that's like what it's doing, but I love it.
Yeah, like, I totally love it as well. It's so good. So this episode aired on February 20th, 1998. And so if that doesn't take you back, oh goodness, we got some stuff. Let's see here. So we just to give you a rundown real quick, we got the cast that I wanted to go through. So you got Tracy Lynn Cruz as the Yellow Ranger, then you got the Pink Ranger, Patricia J. Lee. You got Christopher. Is that Heyman?
Probably Heyman.
Heyman Lee,
yeah,
as the Red Ranger.
That's a silent H.
Yeah, that's like one H too many. But like for those people that don't say H's, do you say the H if there's two H's? So it's like Uman instead of Heyman?
I think like Uncle Ari. I think you actually. Skip more H. I think that like because it's like adding negative numbers. So what happens is like you'd be like Christopher Amen.
Right.
Like you would literally like not like
so
it
good.
would be impossible.
Yeah, no. It's unavoidable. So this is the Red Ranger, Andros. This is one of the first times I remember seeing this is an asymmetrical hair, but it is, with the two blonde stripes.
Yeah.
Like seeing some I was like, oh, hair could be kind of weird. Maybe I'm going to do that.
It's a look. Yeah.
It is a look. It is. Then we got Roger Velasco as Carlos, and then we got Selwyn Ward as TJ. Now, one thing real quick about TJ, this is the thing that with Power Rangers that bothered me. Usually the Power Ranger that is the Red Ranger is usually the leader, and that's how it is in Sentai for the most part. I think Kaku Ranger has a White Ranger that's the main character, but or the leader of the team, I should say. But it just, I don't know. He was the Red Turbo Ranger when the original cast left. and then to just be bumped to the Blue Ranger, that always bothered me for some reason.
Look.
I was, and he was a good sport in the show. You couldn't tell he was bothered by it. I had never read anything about him being bothered by it, but that always bothered me. I was like, why would you? He didn't do anything wrong. Keep him the leader. Like, he was fine.
He's probably next level. It's the same thing with like Will Wheaton, where they offered him a Star Trek promotion instead of a pay raise, and he was like, that's nothing to me. Right. I think Selwyn Ward was like, well, we got bad news. You're getting bumped down to Blue Ranger. And he's like, Rangers aren't real.
Right.
Am I being paid the same? And they're like, yes. And he's like,
okay,
cool. Like,
yeah.
I'm not going to take this up with Zordon.
No,
he doesn't exist.
I'm not going to run it up the chain.
Do you know what I mean? Like, does my paycheck still come in on the first? Like, good.
Right.
That's
probably
cool. That smile by Selwyn Ward is the smile of a man who doesn't give a shit about red or blue, personally. So I think that a lot of we take up the thing. We take up, I think, the pitchforks for him, but I doubt Selwyn Ward cared.
Yeah, he probably
because this far down the line, he's probably happy to be in a second season.
Oh, that's 100.
True.
That's
like
absolutely
because they
true.
just started like just shelving people. So to come back,
like
I'd be like, cool, another season of a paycheck.
Yeah, no, you're right. But for some reason, there's something inside me that just feels like it's an injustice. That I'm like, who's this new guy? I don't need the new guy. Give me Selwyn, bring him back. But yeah. So then,
well, let's be honest. Like honestly, and we'll say this. You know, it's often debated about Leo. How much does he lead? Like a lot of people have said this over the years, where it's like Leo's the leader, but like he often doesn't feel like it.
Right.
Hot take: Jason never felt like a leader to me.
Jason felt like a leader until Tommy usurped him, basically. Like,
I don't know if he felt like a leader back then to me. Like I rewatched all of Mighty Morphin with Brad.
With Brad.
When he was living here, he went through a run. I think he might have made it through. I mean, he was watching that crap like crazy.
Yeah.
I did wander in just off the back on the back porch one night, and Skull and Bulk were monkeys. And I'm like, I just literally, I did the Abe Simpson where I hung up my hat and then turned around and grabbed my hat, went back inside. Like, I walked up and you see these like burp, 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 they're doing the little music. And I'm like, is that Bulk and Skull? He's like, yep, they're monkeys now. I was like, sounds great, boss. Let me just go inside. And I just turned around.
Mm-hmm.
But Jason felt like a leader in, I guess, name only to me.
That's interesting. Okay. I felt like
he never had any personality. He was always just like, come on, guys. I'm like, okay.
But that's what a leader's supposed to say. Like,
yeah, but you gotta be more than that.
Well, he totally had the voice for it. I felt like he had a commanding voice.
No, he had the voice for it, and he was all right. I'm not. He was all right.
He wasn't Tommy.
I'm just saying, Tommy came in and showed you what a leader is.
He did,
unfortunately.
He did. And so, yeah.
Also, stay away from Kim because.
Oh yeah, pretty much. And then, so you mentioned Bulk and Skull. They're here as well.
They are.
And love them. They're so good.
They lasted a long goddamn time on this show.
Oh yeah, way past this too. So yeah, and then they're still, or at least Paul Schreier is there's some sort of online continuity where he is a part of something with Black Nerd Comedy and a couple of other internet people that they're actually, and it's actually somewhat tangential in continuity. And they have their own suits and everything. Yeah. And I'm like, I love that kind of dedication to that fandom. So, and then we have our antagonist, I guess you could call her. We have Melody Perkins as Astronema, and she is fantastic. She is just wonderful.
Just great.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Makeup's
love her
on point. Hot. Great hair.
Yep. Just excellent. So
if I'm going to have somebody yelling at me and trying to kill me, I want it to be her, not Rita. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
Or weird submarine woman. I don't like her either.
Oh, Diva Talks. Yeah.
She looks weird. She looks like your aunt who is like, you find out is into BDSM and you're like, what? And then she's like, I'm gonna kill you, and you're like, what? You know what I mean? Like, and you're just not into it.
Right, you're not into it. But no, Astronema definitely just
Astronema sounds like it wouldn't be so bad.
Yeah, it's not. I mean,
I'd be like,
there are worse ways to go.
I'll kill you. I'm like, well, can I stay around?
I mean, I wouldn't kick her out of anything for eating crackers. Let's just say that.
Absolutely not.
I wouldn't kick her out of space for eating crackers. That's what I was trying to say.
No.
And
I would not space her for eeating crackers.
Yeah, no. So, all right. The Rangers are checking out their version of the holodeck. And we Alpha 6, who we have right here, which is voiced by someone the voice is more female than Alpha 5's is, so I think that there was some change over there. And
what is it, why do they still say I or whatever they say?
It might be from
it's like part of the program.
It could be
because that's Alpha 5's thing.
That's what they were saying. Yeah, I don't know too much about that. I don't remember, but yeah, but it essentially, I mean, they look almost identical. So I mean,
Absolutely.
It's probably like a race of sentient robots, or at least like from the same line of robots. But yeah. So Alpha 6 tells them that they've made it back to Earth. They go to what used to be Ernie's juice bar, and they start
now the Surf Shack.
Now it's the Surf Shack. And they they hear Bulk and Skull talking about seeing a spaceship and just all this stuff. And
because they
did, yeah, they literally did.
Because they literally had their telescope and they saw the Star Destroyer. I can't remember the name of Astronoma's ship. But they saw that damn thing in orbit, and they were like,
right.
"What?"
Right. And so so they see So they're talking about that, and they get Bulk is being just very weird, and so Andros uses his telepathy to pour hot sauce into the milkshake.
Telekinesis.
What did I say? What did I say? Telepathy.
You said
telekinesis.
telepathy.
Sorry. When Jean Grey got both abilities, telekinesis
but that really
and
blurred
telepathy.
The line.
That made me get super confused on that. Like, I understand what they are, but when it comes time for me,
but her stock went through the roof.
Oh, absolutely, it was capital, and so metaphorically and literally, super capitalistic. Yeah. So, I know
that was a haiku.
Be impressed. And so he uses his telekinesis to pour hot sauce into Bulk's milkshake because, just because. And so the Pink Ranger, the Yellow Ranger notices him doing this, and this becomes a thing that they bring back.
And she already had the hots for him anyway. She was already touching on him on the bridge.
She was.
So, you know what I mean?
She was fascinated. And then to find out your dude's got, telekinesis, like, I mean, that's
strong. Can I just say, because she hasn't seen Andros's downstairs mix-up.
Not that I'm aware of.
It is bold.
Yeah.
To go to an alien who presents as a gender human that you're attracted to.
Right.
It's bold to be like, I'm back on that.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what's going on with the downstairs mix-up.
You don't.
And I understand that we wanna say, you know what I mean, being optimists and being good people. We want to say it's the heart and personality that counts.
Right.
However, there's things you like and things you don't about other things. Mm-hmm. And I've always thought that, like, when in any show or any TV, whatever, movie, whatever, where somebody meets an alien clothed and goes, oh yeah, I'm all about this. Yeah. I'm like, you don't know what's going on down there. They could have a big dick.
Yeah, you don't know. You don't know if they're like.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Absolutely.
Like,
you don't
know be like a cat of nine tails. Like, you have no idea. It could look like a sandworm. You have no idea.
You don't know if they kill their mate once they're done. Like, you don't know.
I mean, yeah, man. And also, like let's just be 100. Like, you don't know what's gonna happen. Like, with like different like seminal fluids and like different, like, you got a bad reaction. They're an alien, dude. They could be like a silicone-based life form.
I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
This is episode 3. Like, she shouldn't be having these thoughts. Like,
there needs to be there needs to be like a period of thoughtfulness. You know what I'm saying?
Some courtship,
and whatever. Yeah. And I know that we're probably looking to be platonic because it's Power Rangers and stuff.
Oh, sure.
I'm not worried about the downstairs mix-up. All I'm saying is,
or at least celebrate.
I just always thought that was bold.
Yeah.
That's bold. I'm like,
I mean,
because see, at least in Mass Effect, if you go into you're getting down with Liara, you know what I'm saying? In Mass Effect 1, I mean, she's an alien, but
they explain it.
You explain it. You know what the downstairs mix-up is. So it's like, because it's all science. You're like, yes. But there's no hidden internet files on Andros. And what's going on with the downstairs mix-up?
I don't think you see his downstairs mix-up until like episode 7 of this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's not too long. You
gotta leave something for suspense.
Right. The imagination and all that. Yeah. So anyway, The telekinesis is oh yeah, he does that, and she's up on that. So then they end up realizing that they need to go get some parts for their ship. So they take off to go get some parts for their ship, and they need to get it repaired. Which is why they're there. That's the whole reason they're back on Earth and stuff.
A little shore leave, a little repair. But when they hear that Bulk and Skull saw a ship and they literally said it looked like it was made of a bunch of green wires. They're like, oh, that's I'm gonna call it the Death Star. It's not called that. They're like, oh, that's literally that stealth ship that Astronema has. Like, so we need to put the pedal to the metal. Like,
right. And so they head off to the shop, and they get their parts and everything, but then they're followed by Quantrons, which I'll have a shot of them eventually, because at least I think I will. Maybe not. I don't know. So yeah, they're the putties for this season, the foot soldiers, if you will, more to the parlance of our normal content.
But they got like batleths, dude.
They got what?
Batleths? Wasn't that what you call the Klingon weapon?
Yes.
Batleth?
Yes. I think that's what but they do have that. You're absolutely right.
John Clemens is going to correct me, but for right now, I'm right. And
for right now,
I believe that's what it's called. And they have batleths, which is way worse than they're just a putty looking ugly.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, and they talk like a robot, so that's even more scary. So the Rangers,
they say clang though.
They do say clang. So we get some fighting because as actors are to be, they want to show what they can do without being in the suits, and oftentimes the actor that is portraying the character is not the actor that's in the suit that's fighting. So we get a morphing scene, and this is kind of neat. They it's different than the original ones, because the original ones had the earlier seasons, you would see the Ranger's face, and there would be some sort of like thing that happened, and
energy.
Then it would, and so this is just like, they just shows this screen, and all of a sudden you're there. But I got this shot of it, and I wanted to read some of the text in it. So here we go. The text on the screen says, it says, "Tighten up, reality gangster. Stigma through idiot hearing. Keep frustration clear. Patience open ahead. Getting away with it led. Some distant memory drove. Get the message? Indiscipline all remains. Wish double editorials cover." Yeah,
that makes no sense.
Makes no sense whatsoever, but I love
it. I tell you what, when I put my clothes on tomorrow morning, I'm going to tighten up the reality gangster. I think that's part of getting ready in the morning. You know what I mean? You got to look yourself dead in the mirror. And you got to say like, am I that gangster? Am I that reality gangster? Tighten that shit up then. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I'm writing that down because that's a potential episode title. Tighten up
that reality gangster, bro.
Yeah.
So I will say this, 'cause you said that those suits were very digital and had a lot of computer stuff.
Yes.
It's funny that you said like they didn't really follow that. And once again, I'm not an expert, but I actually, when I watched these episodes, having not really seen much in space, I thought that they did a good job of doing the technology thing, because their morphing is like through a screen. When the Red Ranger calls on his power drill weapon, which I'm like, that's fucking gruesome. Yes. It is a digitalized, like he has to summon it from like a menu almost or whatever, and they show their weapons like on the screen, even though weapons misspelled. They do show their the weapons for each one.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I guess you do feel the computer part of it, although I'm sure it's not as intense as the show was based on, but still, it's there.
Yeah, so the Sentai season deals more with like the computer elements of it, like science, and gets into that, less about the spaceship, the space stuff. It has nothing to do with space, except for their ship and stuff. Other than that, it doesn't really touch on that. So this just kind of right. No, me neither. But they kind of just gloss over the stuff, but they do show some of the digital stuff, and that's kind of they touch on it, but it's not to the extent.
You gotta tighten up that reality gangster.
Exactly. So but the let me see if it'll show my mouse over here. So you see this part right here, the hole in the head, like the circle. That's let me see. I don't want to zoom in, but
you're made me hungry.
Oh my Lord. So that right there is where you would see this like 3D kind of hologram, like when you would get special cards back in the day, the X-Men and Marvel Comics.
Oh yeah.
it would be there. You would see like a hologram there, and I don't know how much they use that in this series, but I don't recall them doing it often.
Didn't use it in the 2 I watched, so yeah.
Right. So So let's see where we at. So after all that Wish double editorials cover, all that fun stuff, we cut over to Bulk and Skull, and they've made friends with this fella who becomes known to us as Professor Phenomenus, which is excellent. They heard about him because like he's like just a renowned scientist that's all about like aliens and like extraterrestrials and UFOs and all that stuff like that. As you can see here, him saying aliens. And so so they go to check him out, and this is pretty much, from my understanding, what they spend a good portion of the season doing is being a part
they're
of
hanging out with him now.
His crew, the Phenomenus Ingenious Inc. What does it say? Universal dispersal of alien intruders. So
all I know is they're very lucky they got in the van with that weird man and lived.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a rare one.
That is a rare
you beat
one.
the odds.
Yes. So they're running around with him. He has a business. I just mentioned that. And just so happens that the Power Rangers and Bulk and Skull and Professor Phenomenus have arrived at NASDA, which is, I'm assuming NASA, at the same time. Now, they did get their ship originally when they went to space to save Zordon. They got the ship from NASDA.
That's why it's their futuristic space shuttle, basically.
Right. But this is why they're able to just go there and come back, and there's no question, there's no problems. It's because they already had an established relationship with them from past season.
Nice.
And so, yeah.
Although I tell you what, I mean, they in this alternate reality, NASA can really turn around a launch.
Yeah,
is all I'm gonna say.
Oh yeah.
The space shuttle took like a minimum of like 6 months to get going, and they're just like, we're gonna park this here and have it ready for us. Bring the car around.
Right, and we're gonna get some parts down at the store here in Angel
Grove.
Yeah,
we're gonna get some parts to repair your shuttle, NASA, ourselves with these parts we got from the electronics sale.
Right.
And NASA's like,
oh, that's right. It was a sale. There was a sale.
It was a sale. That's why they had to go get them cheap. You know what I'm saying? But like, I just love how NASA's like, sure, boss.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if NASA went to the electronics store on sale and came back and did stuff, they probably would have accomplished more.
Oh yeah, totally. But they can't all be winners. But speaking of winners, we have Bulk and Skull again, acting though like they've never seen aliens before. But
they do that a lot.
This is season 6 of this stuff happening to them every day. Like, you don't hear about monsters happening in any other city except for the city that Bulk and Skull live in, and they were friends with the Power Rangers, like the original series, like the original Rangers. They knew them.
Well, they weren't really friends with them, but
well, they were on a first name basis with them. They probably had their phone numbers in their beeper, or like they went to class with them. Classmates. There you go. We can call them classmates.
Yeah.
So, nevertheless, neighbors. They were in the same community. Of where all of the monster attacks happen in all of America, in the Western hemisphere.
Population of Angel Grove should be no one.
Should be no one. Should be dead. Should
just the first time Rita made her monster grow on your shit, that would have been population 0. People that live there have to be made of some stern shit.
Oh,
because
absolutely.
when the Megazord decides to kickflip a dude, and a dude goes flying and all the sparks go, that's just a building? I'm like, absolutely not. I'm out of here.
Yeah, no, done, just gone. Yeah, exactly. So it's you got to suspend some disbelief, but the fact that the fact that they're so freaked out about aliens and that no one's believing them about aliens in a town where nothing but aliens happens all the time is a little absurd.
Well, that's why all that stuff works in Japan, because like in Japan, it's like Godzilla, Mothra, call it what you want, Ultraman, all this crap happens in Japan. They would leave, but they're like, I'm Japanese and Japan's only so big.
Right. So, I mean,
like you could kick Mothra to the other side of Japan and then come running back at you. Like,
or flying back,
fly back, crawl back. Who knows? It'd be how bad you hurt him. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good point. I stand corrected.
But my big thing is like, we have all this room in America,
right?
So it doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean?
It does not.
Why would anyone live in Gotham City?
Why would anyone live in Gotham City? No, I thank you. I always think this. Yeah, no, makes no sense.
Especially rich people. Like,
especially rich
I understand
people.
if it's kind of like the rich people have like a Fiddler's Green type situation where it's all like one big mega security tower, and then the rest of the people are literally like it's like Mad Max out there. Yeah. I would get that kind of scenario,
right?
But they're just trying to live in Gotham, you know.
Well, and to that point, like
people are trying to live in Angel Grove.
In the
DC families in Angel Grove.
Here's the difference, though. In DC Universe, you have other cities that are known to Gothamites or Gotham, whatever the
absolutely. Yeah, and they know about
Emerald City. They know about Metropolis.
They know Emerald City. Yeah,
they know about Central, whatever it is. Like so I guess what it comes down to is that you have to ask yourself, what villains do you want to put up with? And so, like, still, the question is still there. Why would you still choose Gotham? Because out of all the villains, like, I think you'd be better off in Emerald City
or Emerald City
or wherever the Flash is from. So, Star
City. I would go
Central City. One of those two.
Yeah. I would go to Emerald City because most of that stuff is intergalactic issues.
That's true. Yeah. So Green Lantern's just always out there.
I'd be like fucking like sometimes it goes down here. But most of the time, it goes down way out there.
Oh, yeah, yeah. But Angel Grove, like, just go to another part of California. Just get out of there. Like, just whatever. And, it's bizarre to me. But nevertheless, they're acting weird. And
they see three putties, and they're like, holy crap. And I'm like...
Yeah, you've seen this.
Do you ever get used to that? Though I hate to keep sidetracking you, but like,
no. I think you do.
Do you ever get used to that?
I absolutely think you do because the Power Rangers do because they see it all the time and they're like,
they see it all the time, but they're Power Rangers.
You're right. But in the narrative of the show, Bulk and Skull usually saw the villains at some point, and they were friends with Goldar.
But they were.
Bulk and Skull adopted Goldar and Rito.
I saw some of that. Yes,
they adopted. And they were like back best
when they
friends.
were back when they had their minds wiped or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so they're not strangers to this.
Yeah, and that happened before this. So I guess my big thing is like okay, and I'll let you get back to it right after this.
Okay.
It'd be like a cop. Okay. So if you're a cop, your job is messing with criminals. And you have a gun and a taser and a nightstick, and you've got like all your good stuff on you. You got your backup buddies you can call. You need 8 police cars to pull over one guy. I mean, you got all this crap, right? Mm-hmm. And that's your job.
Yeah.
Whereas if you and I had interactions with a criminal that was anywhere on the scale of what a cop probably sees every day, you and I go running.
Oh, absolutely.
Like
all day.
Because we don't have the position of authority. We don't have a weapon on us. We don't have the belt. I don't have the mace. Do you know what I'm saying? Like we don't have that badge, that twinkly little badge on it. We don't got any of that.
Yeah.
We don't got a cool radio. We can't radio with anybody.
Yeah.
So like we would start running.
Yes.
Right. So that's where I'm at with Bulk and Skull. It's like just because they see it all the time doesn't make it any more like less like, oh shit, because like they're not hanging out with Zordon. They don't hang out with like Alpha 6 and Alpha 5, like
I could see a little bit. I
they're
can
not
see
exposed.
I can see an argument for that, but they have been exposed. I think that they
they have been, and also they're so dumb that you figure eventually they'd just be like, yeah, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I get you. I get you.
They have not seen the likes of who we're about to see next, which is Ecliptor. One of the coolest designs. So cool. Just a grid. Just
all I see on him is edge highlighting, and I want to do all of it.
Yeah, I know. And
that's just really clean edge highlighting work, and I want to literally Tron out that. I want a figure of him in black, and I want to lay the neon green edge highlights.
I have his figure, and they also have a red version of him too, which is really cool. Yeah.
Well, he's red with with red lines, like black with red lines.
Yes.
Or red with green. Oh,
I believe it's black with red. Yeah. He's so cool.
So
cool looking. Yeah, and that's one of the best things about Sentai and like Rangers in general is just the general, I guess you could say. So like a Goldar and then like a Ecliptor. They just look so cool.
They do.
And
Ecliptor,
that was one of my favorites.
Badass.
Oh yeah, so good. And one of my favorite things about Sentai is that they usually have the general having some sort of like, they have their own plot too, like their own emotional like journey that they go through, and Rangers do too. Like they do have some of this stuff, but it's a lot. It hits a lot different, especially in Jetman. Jetman is just like gut wrenching, the stuff that they do in that show. But anyway, Ecliptor shows up looking awesome, wire model themed robot who's Astronema's guardian and surrogate father, just to say the least. He fights the Rangers while Astronema is ordering her cloaked ship to fire on the Nazda space station or just whatever it's called, and destroy the Ranger spaceship that is just docked there, and without question. Which, when I was reviewing this episode and writing the review, hold on, I gotta sneeze. Excuse me. So so when I was writing this, I hadn't taken the time to like research the previous episodes and previous season. So I was kind of like, why are they just parked here? Like, how come no one says anything? And then I realized that they gave them the ship to go get Zordon and all that fun stuff. So
they came back on just the shuttle, and then they were like, hey, would you guys mind doing a like 6-hour turnaround on the space shuttle?
Right.
And Nazada's like, yeah, not a problem. We'll just put it back on Slick 40 and stand it, even though we have no idea when you're coming back or what the weather's going to be like.
Yeah. So
like, thanks a lot.
So so Astronema's just like, she wants the Astro Megazord shuttle just destroyed, and so she starts shooting stuff down from her cloaked ship that's flying above the Earth, and we get the Rangers running in typical Toku explosion fashion, just taking off, and they let's see, they have like the explosions are like right on their heels, and they make it all the way up into the ship with 4 seconds to spare, and are able to get away, like just without it getting destroyed.
I do appreciate that they had to take the elevator to get up. I really love that detail.
Yeah.
Some of the space stuff in here is cool as hell. Also, there's some sick ass reentry stuff later on, which I'm a big fan of. So really, I thought it was really neat.
I'm glad. I thought about you the whole time I was watching this. I was like, I hope that like there's something, because as big of a space nerd as you are, like I was hoping that there was some sort of redeeming stuff that was in there, regardless of how ridiculous it was.
Oh yeah.
So let's see here. So they get away. The ship docks with the with the space station, only to head immediately back out and form the Astro Megazord, which is this guy. And they end up going back to.
So did Nazada like design their orbiter to become the Megazord's hat, like in the design process, or
I don't know. Like, yeah, because that's a good question.
Because they did like on a previously on, and you see like, oh yeah, it's his hat.
Yeah,
or whatever they say. They don't say that, but like they're like, oh yeah, because like it turns out like the Megazord I guess couldn't work until they put the hat on, and then I was like, well, it just really works out that the orbiter is also a hat.
It's very convenient. Yeah, I love that. To be honest, I've watched this and I had a figure of this, and I never realized that was the ship on the head. Like that was its hat. Like I never put, for some reason I had this Disney.
Pretty great.
I couldn't connect it, but now I can't unsee it. So presumably they're still in the cockpits, looking like this, which I always loved the shot of the Rangers in the Zord looking like this.
Oh hell yeah,
this looks so cool all the time. And so they made it back to Earth to deal with the giant Ecliptor, and they're fighting him. Classic Power Rangers. And when he gets beaten, lightning striking him and stuff like that, and all this electricity's going over, and then he just burst into 1,000 little like metal pieces.
Yeah, I was a fan of that.
Yeah,
you're dead.
It just looks so cool. So after they destroy Ecliptor, we see the Rangers back on their space station. The Yellow Ranger asks the Red Ranger to play pool. And they've created, I mentioned their holodeck earlier, and this is where this is taking place. So the stage is set to look like Adele's surf shack. Instead of just picking up a pool cue, Andros uses his telekinesis, and the Yellow Ranger realizes that, oh yeah, it was him who dumped the hot sauce in Bulk's milkshake. So Yeah, that gets
Dump in
resolved
the
pretty
hot
quickly.
sauce.
Mm-hmm. So he says if she teaches him pool, he'll give her some pointers on learning telekinesis. And I mean, that sounds like an equivalent exchange.
Can you guarantee that?
Yeah, I don't know how that works.
Like you're a goddamn alien, man. You know what I'm trying to say? And
Yeah.
this girl, all I gotta say is this Yellow Ranger's she is a person of faith. I can tell you that without knowing what her denomination is, because she takes it on faith that he doesn't have a pig dick. She also takes it on faith that he can teach her telekinesis when he's an alien, probably born with it. He's like, I can give you a couple pointers. What pointers you gonna give her, dude?
Right.
Well,
try.
with your simple human makeup and your non-special anatomy, think real hard about that. Let me tell you something. If it was possible to have telekinesis by thinking hard, I would have done it when I was 8.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I spent most of my time really wanting my fucking lightsaber toy to come back to me, man.
Right.
Like,
oh, yeah.
I literally would think on it so hard, even though obviously, like, I knew it couldn't happen. But I would sit there in my room and just like close my eyes, put my hand out, and be like, "But what if it did?
But what if it did?
Okay,
but what if it did?"
But I didn't have pointers from Pig Dick, so I don't know.
Oh my god!
Sorry.
But
yeah.
So the next line is he tells her is that his eyes are up there, and then after that, that's the end of the scene. Yeah. And so then
he did practically say that.
He did. Then on Astronema's space station, which is this thing, we see Astronema talking to Eldar, who again is, which I thought was awesome. I loved that they carried over some of the villains from the previous season, some of the generals and stuff, to kind of keep some familiarity. I just thought that was kind of cool. Well, she tells him to aim some laser at New York City sewers, because she's like, I got to think smarter, not harder. And so they do that, and then whatever I've already forgotten the no, that's the Ghostbusters theme.
That's Ghostbusters, bro.
Yeah, bustin' makes me feel good. Sorry.
This was just like urban soundtrack number 4.
Oh, okay, that's probably
when they
yeah. I was thinking it was the
You're like, okay.
So the laser
wicka.
The laser hits the sewer, and all of a sudden the turtles are pulled out of the sewer, and it's in the most janky way where like they come out and they're like, oh, and they freeze, and then they bring out the other one, and then it's just terrible. But
then like Venus is standing over the open manhole, which is like obvious, like that is just superimposed. You're like,
oh yeah.
What's happening?
It's very bad. And all 5 Next Mutation turtles bounce out individually, and it's charming. I like the practical effect of it. That it's not great, but they appear kind of like, whoa, what's going on? Something's happening, and their eyes glow, and that's how you know that something's probably going to happen. I don't know if they glowed this part, but something makes you realize
not yet. At the end of this episode, they're like, bro, Salacious, what's going on? Why, bro? Next episode is when
their eyes glow. Yeah,
Astronema seduces them effectively.
Effectively, yeah. And so that's save our ship. So
save our ship.
Yeah. So let's see here. So what'd you think about this episode? Like just how'd it go?
It was very interesting. It did feel good to kind of be back at the juice bar / server spot. Like I thought it was a cool thing to come back to that.
Yeah.
I do. It made me seriously wonder if like the actors for Bulk and Skull don't like go to sleep and then like hear and like come out like a cold sweat, like November Rain. Because they use that music for them, bro. Like, like all like all throughout the thing. It was such a flashback to hear that music. I'm like, God, it's 1998. You guys are still like, that's your music. But no, it was cool to see it all kind of go down again and to see them again. I thought that, like Ecliptor's. Well, first of all, that name is badass, and Ecliptor's badass.
Ecliptor's awesome.
Astronema can like mind wash me anytime. You know what I'm saying? So I'm down with that.
Yeah, totally.
And yeah, no, I did enjoy some of the space stuff, and it was cool to see him launch, and everything like that. It was neat.
Yeah. I agree. I think it was fun, and yeah, I'm interested to see more of the. I like that it doesn't take too long to we get introduced to a lot of the other mechanics of the show, especially in this episode.
Yeah.
But then this is it because spoiler alert, they don't show back up, so it gets resolved. But yeah. So all right, well, you ready to jump into Shell Shocked?
You ready to get your reality gangster tightened? Because this is gonna do that one. You know what I'm saying?
Always ready.
If you don't have a clip or an image of Astronema petting that turtle, like that real turtle, like on the bridge of her ship, that could be a thumbnail, because that was like the best.
Oh man. I'll have to see. Was that last episode?
That was in this last episode when she tells Elgar to summon the turtles. Like she's like petting a real turtle. That's
right. I remember that.
She's like, God, think smarter, not harder. Summon the turtles or whatever.
Right.
Which for I just gotta say something. So if you're just like a Power Rangers fan and you're just like watching in space, you're like, I'm in on the Power Rangers. Like I've been watching it this long. I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
What did your mind have to do when she like? What backflip did your mind do when she's like, focus the laser on New York City, the sewers? You had to be like, that they ain't gonna be no turtles. And then they pull them out.
And then all of a sudden, just
and think about
certified.
The number of kids that are like, who's the girl?
Yeah.
Like there have to be a ton of people who have not watched Next Mutation at this point.
The only thing I can think of is that back then we were inundated with like next week on Power Rangers.
That's true. That's true.
And so they kind of spoiled it a little bit.
They probably spoiled this. They probably hyped this one up as also a Turtles episode, even though it really isn't, right?
Right.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
Like next week, and you see the turtles come out of the sewer, you're like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And then it turns out that happens at the very end.
Yeah.
That's what you said in 6th grade,
right?
At your dad's shop. Anyway, This is Shell Shocked. You know what I mean? On Power Rangers in space, it's the Earth, and that's about as easy as we can make it. Get your reality gangster tight, because here's what we're doing.
Yep.
So we open up in that same alley where the turtles were manifested. A little note, because you're going to see the turtles a lot more. So at the time of production, they were shooting Power Rangers in California, but they were shooting all the pickups and stuff with the Next Mutation in Vancouver. So the logistics for having the actors come down and do the post and be in the suits and do the voices was not going to happen.
Right.
So they took delivery of backup suits from Next Mutation and they just hired people that were standing around to be 100, because Saban kept so many martial arts people in around, right, for the putties, and they just had access to a lot of those people. That they got a hold of people to play the 5 turtles. So, and they do an okay job of mimicking the voice. I gotta give them credit. But if you've been watching this show for like a year, like we have, I feel like we almost did that Next Mutation in real time. You know off the bat these voices aren't right.
They're not right. No.
I will say later on in this episode, when the fight happens, I'm actually really happy with who's in the suits. I think that we're gonna talk about that later, but you get a bonus there. But for right now, they do a good job of acting like the turtles. Like in this screenshot here, like Raph's little like, let me think about that. They do a good job of the mannerisms, but the voices are a little off. But that's kind of what the deal was. Yeah. So you got Next Mutation shooting in Vancouver, and Power Rangers in space shooting in California, the LA area. What's interesting to me is that Hayam Saban didn't just have one like screw off compound where he shot all these shows. It kind of blows my mind that they were shooting them in different places.
I think they eventually start shooting in New Zealand, and
fair.
So, and I think down there they might have that, or wherever, well, I know
Well,
it's
it makes
down,
sense because you need urban stuff and urban sets with the turtles, and they might have had a better chance doing that in Vancouver,
right,
than in California. But either way,
yeah,
that's where they be. So we open up, and the turtles have been summoned out of the sewer, and they're like, I don't know what happened. What do you think happened? I don't know what happened. And Venus is like, I don't know what happened. I'm like, okay, Venus. And then Estrama shows up. You know what I mean? Flanked by Elgar and a couple of the Quantrons. And she's like, check it out. You're going to kill the Power Rangers. And they're like, you've got to be on another planet. And Mikey's like, yeah, but like they're comic book characters.
Yeah.
And which I thought was very interesting because I was reading up on this. And apparently this is the first time that the Power Rangers of their world are referenced to as comic book characters. However, that would go on as a thing in the lore of the show past this point, which I think is interesting.
Oh, yeah.
So it opened up this continuity that there are Mighty Morphin Power Rangers or Power Rangers comic books that most people in the country believe they're just cartoon characters. They're just comic book characters.
Right.
Because that's what the assumption, and this adds this, and like this really messes with continuity a little bit, but like it kind of makes sense because they don't really go a lot of other places than Angel Grove. So you don't know what other people are thinking, right? Or what, but there's apparently in this universe that they share now. You know what I'm saying? They have a comic book. So and she's like, no, they're real, and you're going to kill them. And Raphael's like, no, you don't understand. They're from the comic books. And she's like, okay, this is obviously not going to be a thing. So she brainwashes them.
Yes.
And that that image might be the most metal thing that's ever happened on either of these shows.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like that image was like, I was like, that's cool as hell. Oh, yeah. I love everything about that image. I get that. Get that fucking tattooed on me. So turns out, their eyes glow kind of purplish, and that's some sick. Oh man.
Yeah. Thank you.
I love that. Thank you. So they get brainwashed, and there's a lot of stuff about, and like if you go deep into it enough, you can start being like, well, how would Venus know Astromina? Because she does.
Yeah, she
kind of like she doesn't. Yeah, she goes Astromina, but then they don't think the Power Rangers are real in this universe, which is weird. And then
it makes no sense. Like there's no like consensus of what's reality and what's not. There's no way that she would know Astronema. Like, I don't know how, even if you try to say that it's through shinobi magic that she just somehow registers that. Like, even if she did, she would have to recognize that the Power Rangers are real. And if she knew that, that the chances are the Turtles would know that. And then conversely, and as you were making good points about the Angel Grove thing, think about like the town that's like right like next to yours. That's the next big. So for us, for me it'd be Lakeland. Yours would be Brandon probably. So like if let's say those towns are Angel Grove, we could arguably at some point probably see this fight going on, and if we didn't see it, we would either get debris from it or we would feel the effects of these massive, like,
I think the only reason that they could even have this going on is because they're in California and all the buildings are like protected against like quake damage. It's like my only thought about like why that, like if this happened in Florida, we'd be done.
Right.
Like just done. Yeah, no, we would witness the freaking 80-story tall
robot fighting things,
Zord fighting like a Liptor. Like I'm like, no, I'm good.
Yeah. So
it's really weird.
It is very strange, but
yeah. So anyway, Astronema does her magic. I mean, honestly, if she just like smiled and said "pretty please," like I'd probably kill the Power Rangers. But like they're made of firmer stuff. So get you
certified
with the Miley Cyrus certified, and now they're certified brainwashed. Aboard the Astro Mega ship, we see that Andros is showing the other Rangers how the Galaxy gliders work, which are basically surfboards in space.
Yep.
And he's like, lean forward to accelerate, lean backwards to decelerate. So it's basically like a one of those annoying things that rich people ride back in the day.
Like a
but
Segway or whatever?
more, yeah, Segway. Yeah, it's like a Segway. It's like a Kevin Spacey Segway, but it's cooler looking and it's like a surfboard, which is going to come in later. He wants to take them all out, but all of a sudden Alpha 6 is like, Power Rangers, holy shit. And they're like, okay, cool. Like, goddamn, Mike. All right.
Holy shit.
Yeah, they're like, oh, time to stop doing cool shit, get to work. And he's like, oh my God. So Alpha 6 says something's going down, and there's a monster attacking Angel Grove, and they have to head out. So they slide down their little chutes.
Yes.
And that's how they morph. Kind of weird. And then they get shot out the escape patch thingy on the bottom of the Astro Megaship, and they are now on their surfboards. The what are they called
Galaxy
again?
gliders?
The Galaxy glider. They're on the Galaxy gliders, having 4 of the 5 having never ridden one. Totally fine.
Yeah,
and they do re-enter Earth's atmosphere.
Yeah,
fine. But I did like the heating effects.
Oh yeah,
I'm like, that's legit. Okay. I appreciate that. That's cool. Especially last episode when the Megazord went down there, like it like held up like I think it's sword or something and made like a plasma shield out of it, and like and I was like, well, that's cool as hell. So again, more stuff I liked. With this one, they don't really have re-entry effects. They kind of do the turtles in the astral plane where they just turn into colors.
Yes.
And then show up. But they bob out on there, and it is pretty neat. So at the power plant, we've got just your typical ass monster. What's his name?
I don't even know his name, but he says he's gonna blow your fuses.
He's gonna blow your fuses. I'm gonna let me look at him.
Yeah,
I'm gonna call him Fat Cop.
Fat Cop. Okay, I don't know that I got his name. Because I don't even think they mentioned it.
Yeah, because like he plays around for a little bit and then he gets his dick put in the dirt.
Yeah.
So he's not really like a big thing right now.
No.
So Fat Cop, because his hat looks kind of like an old school cop's hat.
It totally does.
Yeah, see. I
can see that.
I feel like there's a more clever name for him. It's like a cop. You gotta put electricity in it. We got to name this
cop. Because he has he has electric powers or something.
I'm gonna call him the Tingler.
The Tingler. Okay, that works. Yeah, Tingler.
So classic anonymous monster that is just running distraction ops in Angel Grove to make the Power Rangers have to have an episode. Is down there at the Angel Grove power plant, eating up the power. And the Tingler wants all your power, and they're like, "Let's go, boys!" So he summons that ball of lightning, and he shoots that Tingler up everybody's butt, and they get absolutely wrecked. And they're like, "Too powerful! This one's too powerful!" And I'm like, "That's funny." About that, because why?
Yeah,
is he?
It's just
more powerful. Ecliptor, way more powerful than this guy.
Way more powerful.
Ecliptor was like, "I'll make you see 8 of me, bro," and they're like, "Whoa," you know what I mean? And they still got him.
And they just re-entered from space on a surfboard that they've never been on before, and this guy's too powerful.
Yeah, I mean, like whatever. I understand that like megawatts become heat. You know, that's how the law of thermodynamics works. But that thing ain't going to give you any more heat than the plasma blade on re-entering Earth's atmosphere. Tell you that much. You know what I'm saying? She can cut through anything. So like, I mean, it's all good, but he's too powerful. Now, we'll give this one because I thought about this. So in my head, when I was watching this, I was like, man, Tingler seems kind of weak. But then I realized, well, they are super digital Power Rangers, kind of like so they got that digital going on. So I'd be like, oh, electricity. Like when he says, like, I think I'm gonna blow your fuses. It's like,
okay.
That actually, like an EMP effect, would actually really screw us up.
That's
I'm not down
true.
with that.
That's a good
point.
You know
what I mean? So yeah, like explosion happens. He throws the Powerball, and all of a sudden the turtles warp in, same way that the Rangers did, and music, and and right here Leo's saying like, "Yo, get that reality gangster tight, son, because I'm gonna tighten this other guy's shit
your
up."
reality gangster.
Because while you may be susceptible to EMP damage, even though we're wet ass turtles that just came from the sewer, we don't care about electric shocks.
Right now.
And we're going to show you in a minute what that means.
We just care about shell shock. That's all they care about.
So Cassie actually recognizes them, the Yellow Ranger, as the TMNT.
Yeah.
Even though they should just be the Ninja Turtles.
Right. At least the caption got them with mutant Ninja Turtles. So
Ninja Turtles. Yeah, better. Yeah. And they're like, why are you dead naming me, bro? Right. Which is kind of funny that she recognizes them. So she knows about their like sly ass maneuvers in the sewers.
And they're supposed to be ninjas that nobody knows
about. But they don't know about the people that fight 40-foot tall dudes all the time.
Yeah. Or they know about them as
400-foot tall dudes.
As comic books. So
yeah, man.
Yeah.
But then again, the turtles don't get out much. You know what I'm saying?
They don't.
So who knows? So she recognizes them. Well, the TMNT team up, and they make short work of the Tingler. I mean, at one point, mocking him to a degree of he goes, "Oh yeah, you bunch of numbskulls, and check out my balls," and he like makes his big ball of energy. He shoots it, and Leo grabs that shit on his sword, and he's like, yeah, we're gonna make you like a fool, Tingler. And they start throwing that ball around. Shinobi's got it, whatever. Yeah, Shinobi does like a soccer kick, and it's a whole 9 yards. And they shoot that thing right back at the Tingler, who should just absorb it and burp and say thank you. You know what I'm saying? Because he's like Mr. Tingler.
Yes.
But no, it blows him apart.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be like if I like hawked a loogie and spit it at you, and you somehow like kicked it back on my face, and I blew apart.
Exactly. Yes. That's 100% what it would be.
Anyway,
sparks, and smoke, and
sparks and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you are a mirror, so I mean that would work. You know what I'm saying?
Would totally would.
So the two teams, are both of our heroes celebrate, and they ask how the turtles got here and knew that they needed help right on time. And the turtles are like, well, you guys, well, hey man, like good guys need to stick together, man. You know what I mean? Like certified. And every other ranger's buying this shit. Every other ranger's like, oh man, like, yeah, I don't give a shit why you came out here, man. Like, I don't care how you got the powers to show up like we do. You just kick the Tingler's ass and like, bro, you're the turtles, man. I love you, bro. And automatically, and add this to the logbook. You know what I'm saying? Add this to the list. Mikey goes for Cassie like it's day old news. He is kissing hands, and he is
not making eye contact.
Not making eye contact. No. That image right there.
Yeah.
Is my weird dome on my head that becomes holographics. Not in this show, but the other show is up here. Is where that comes in. You know what I mean? Like, maybe if they use the holographics on the helmet, maybe like Mikey. Yeah. Well, let's be honest, Mike. You could have today's winning Powerball numbers up there, and he wouldn't have his eyes anywhere but where he's got them. You know what I mean? No. But there he is.
Like he's even trying to get a closer look.
No, he is. He really is, and I'm like, Mikey. Yeah. Is it amateur hour over here?
I know, right?
Because like, I'll be honest with you, man. Like, those suits do the most they can to hide anything.
Exactly. Yeah, but Mikey don't
especially
care.
The color yellow.
Right.
Like, you can only see him in profile, and you're not even on top. You're head on.
Yeah.
She looks like a dude from there, buddy. Yeah, like, what are you doing? Do you know what I mean? Like,
what are you doing?
You know, it'd be like you haven't read any Power Rangers comics, or you'd be looking at her from the side. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah. If you're going to be that lecherous, yeah.
If you're going to be lecherous like that, there's ways to do it. But Mikey is all in again, so just add that to the list. If anyone ever tries to say, oh, like all the Mikey fans, you say, well, Mikey is always the perv. They go, what are you talking about? Just to be like, run it from here. Show them what you see on the screen right now, and the frame before it, and that's all the evidence you need. Anyway, everyone's buying this, but Andros, and Andros is hanging back because Andros, like, these dudes are goofy, bro, and I'm not feeling this. And the turtles start being like, yeah, man, well, hey, it's a long way to New York City back from here. You know what I'm saying? So, like, why don't you give us a lift back in your awesome ship? You got a ship, right? We want to be on board your ship. And Andros is like, hey, fellas, come here. Can we have a moment? And he grabs all the Rangers and he's like, let's caucus for a second.
Mm-hmm.
You trust these mutants?
Yeah.
And they're literally every one of the other Rangers goes, absolutely, with my life, I do.
Right. Yeah.
Like
they're all
they're like, yes, like my parents, I trust them.
Right.
And he's like, all right, I guess I'm outvoted. So let's go up to our ship.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So they go up to the Astro Mega ship. So the Rangers are showing them around the ship, and it's kind of cool because you get the actors, right?
Yes.
You get the Power Rangers actors out of their suits, and the turtles are in it. Really cool. They're walking around, and it seems kind of neat. Like, Donnie, of course, shines here. He's very interested in the ship in general. And this is where you kind of realize, like, well, and you realize in the scene before, they're not like brainwashed. They're not like zombie brainwashed. Which is like the second time we've seen the turtles brainwashed, but not really brainwashed in this continuity, because they're cool. They just have ulterior motives, kind of.
Right.
Like, so they're chilling and they're like, yeah, man, like, cool shit, bro. And it's great because Andros is still suspicious. He's looking around. Totally. He's like, this is goofy. Like, your boy is even like hiding in between like bulkheads. And like, you know what I mean? Like, your boy is like on some sneaky shit because he just knows this ain't good. Do you know what I mean? And everyone's just so starstruck meeting the TMNT. Or sorry, the NT. So Deca, the ship's computer, which is different than Alpha 6. I'm like, why do they have a ship computer and Alpha 6?
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but
that's strange. But anyway, so I guess they just want that if they ever want to get rid of Alpha 6. Like Alpha 6 is like, could I have another 25-cent raise? Right. And Saban's like, you're fired. Thank you for all your service. We have Deca. So Deca informs everybody that they're over New York. They're like, we arrived. And the turtles are like, yeah, let's everybody meet on the bridge, bro. Let's say goodbye on the bridge, bro. And so they go to the bridge. They go to the CIC where they shouldn't be allowed. But they go up there. And they're hanging out with them. And, sorry, my monitor did something really dumb. I got to get a new monitor, Eric.
Oh, geez.
My old monitor, not the new ones we got, but my right one is literally, I've had this since, I think probably since the podcast started.
Okay.
And it is now throwing up like the menu options in the middle of the screen randomly, even though I'm not touching any buttons.
Oh, that's.
So when it does it, it blocks out my notes and I have to move them.
Oh, my Lord. Goodness
It's super
gracious.
Annoying.
That is super annoying.
Anyway, we're good. We're back.
In check.
Yeah, for real. It'd be so funny if you're like, well, we need to get to at least 500 subscribers before we can get any more stuff. And I'm like, listen, guys, I'm dead serious. You know what I mean? Well, we will get a new monitor, Ryan, but we just didn't get to that 500. So I don't know what to tell you.
$498.
Yeah. So anyway, I need a new monitor at some point. Not, I can live with it, but at some point, it's probably gonna die. So they're over New York. Turtles are like, let's all go to the bridge and let's go to the vulnerable heartbeat of this ship. So they all go up there, but then Cassie stays behind to talk to Andros about why they're asking so many questions. And Andros is like, why do you think they're asking all these questions? And to Cassie's credit, she's like, because they're
curious
that come from Earth and they're on board a ship, a starship. That's probably why. Like, a lot of people would ask a lot of questions.
Yeah.
And Andros ain't buying it. Andros like, whatever, we don't give a shit. So she tells him to check his privilege, which is legit. And not everyone grew up with a spaceship in their garage. And Andros pushes his glasses up 8 inches and says, actually, we didn't have garages. We had spaceports. And Cassie puts it more on the line because she goes, despite that really shitty comment, I still want to pull your pants down. And I'm like, well, that you're risking a lot, but there he is. You know what I mean? You showed him how to play pool, but I don't see you doing any telekinesis is all I'm saying. I think you got hoodwinked. You know what I'm
this
saying?
Is the Pink Ranger. This is the Pink Ranger.
Oh, that's the Pink Ranger.
Yeah, this is the Pink Ranger that's talking now. Yeah.
See,
so she ain't privy to the telekinesis yet.
No, she's not privy to telekinesis yet.
Yeah, unless they shared it, but I don't know.
No. So all of a sudden we see Deca that has like computer like camera like stalk like eyes that can just go anywhere.
Yeah.
Look around and check Donnie at the control boards for one of the computers and cutting wires. And Andros like rolls up on this and sees it's the turtles.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden Deca's like, I'm turtlefied certified. And now Deca is turtlefied certified. And you know what that means. She's just now a turtle groupie, effectively.
Sure.
So there's some fighting that happens on the deck, which is kind of neat. Unmorphed Power Rangers versus TMNT, which is cool.
Oh yeah.
And then Astronema Elgar, good to see him back in the flesh, somewhere else in the ship, and Quantrons show up, and they beam onto the bridge like some goddamn Borg, and it ain't great.
Mm-hmm. No.
And they capture all the Rangers except for your boy Andros, who is currently skulking around the ship.
Mm-hmm.
So Astronema reports into her boss, Dark Spectre.
Yes.
Who feels pretty neat.
He does.
And you have a note here. He happens to be an overarching main villain for the from the Zordon era.
Apparently, he is the head of the Evil Alliance or whatever they're calling it. I forget.
Oh, so he's been bankrolling this whole shit this whole time.
So like the entire time, like since the beginning, like there's been this understood
since like Rita.
Yeah, like early on, there's been this understood thing that there's powers that are outside of Rita, and then you get Zed, and then he even acknowledges that there's other things. So there's this alliance, and apparently, if I'm not mistaken, he is the big bad. He's the one that's like been.
Oh, so Rita came back to life like Internet Explorer after 1,000 years, and then was basically being an independent operator.
Correct.
And then kind of finds out, wait a minute, Dark Spectre's like in charge of this other big shit, and then she gets canned, and then like it's a bunch of other people. They're all Dark Spectre people.
It's almost like a Legion of Doom.
Even the chick in the submarine.
Yes. She worked for him because he shows up previous season too.
That's cool.
Yeah, and so he's the one pulling the strings. I don't think I wrote it down what it was called, but it's like they have a acronym, I think, but it's basically like United Space Villains of America or something like that.
Yeah.
And
of America.
he's the he's the big bad, and so that's who Astronomer.
The United Universal Galactic villains collective of America. That's genius.
America. Oh
yeah. So that's pretty neat. So he wants the Rangers brought to him so he can destroy them, and then and of course Astronema is like trying to look real good. She's like, oh, definitely, for sure. And then Leo just like blurts out like, yeah, but the only thing she didn't tell you was we're missing one.
Yeah.
And Astronema's like, I'll get you home right away. Don't you worry about it. And then cuts. She's like, oh, I can't. And then it hits off.
And then going to a space tunnel.
Going to a space tunnel. I guess we cut out. And then she orders them to find the Red Ranger.
Mm-hmm.
So we see the Rangers unmorph all tied up, and they have rope lights that they're tied up with, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Back when rope lights sucked.
Yeah.
Remember back in the day, man, like they had rope lights in the 90s, man. And you're like, that's cool, man. But like, you don't?
No.
They had like really early rope lights in the late 90s, but they dead ass looked like that. After you got them and you like unfurled them and you're like, cool, man, I'm gonna swing this around, or I'm gonna put this on my house. Like most of the lights died just like that. They would not become a thing until much later.
I can speak to an event that you were actually a part of. My wife Shannon had a market at night that we were putting on, and or that we were vending at, and we needed to bring our own lights. So she bought rope lights, and we tested them. They worked fine. They worked really good. They were like super bright and everything. I get the whole. So we have a 10-foot tent.
Oh my God, this is crazy.
And
I remember this.
I get the whole thing wrapped in all these lights, and it's a ton of them, and it's all intertwined and tangled up.
Oh,
and,
running up the inside
yes,
roof, inside
frame,
ceiling of the tent, and the frame. It's all wrapped around the frame,
right,
and like all this shit.
Get the whole thing set up, taking me like probably 45 minutes. My arms are dead tired. Plug that thing in, it only works about like the first like foot.
Yeah,
and then nope, that's it.
So that was a sad damn time right there.
It was. Me and rope lights, we don't get along very well anymore. So, but
well, that's how they used to all be. All the time. And I love it that the props they use here are only about half lit, which is about what rope lights did in the 90s. So, that is period correct. Anyway, we see them all tied up. Then all of a sudden, a little pair of wire cutters start just start flying around. And we see Andros like down in the cut. Your boy is like wedged like behind a wall, and there's like a section cut out, and he's like also, I don't know if he's intentional or not, but his like ship suit kind of like blends in with the walls of the ship.
It does.
So he's kind of like camouflage boy, and then his weird Nordic ass like peanut butter jelly hair he's got going on like also kind of works. So like he's kind of blended in pretty good, I'll be honest.
Oh yeah.
And he's like working his Jedi mind trick stuff, and he's making the wire cutters float over.
Yeah.
And they cut the rope light, and all of a sudden TJ is free, and he's like, I better keep this going.
Mm-hmm.
So I love it. I love the escape here.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden, like after they're done clipping, Andros loses control of the clippers and they hit the ground.
Yeah.
And one of the Quantrons. One of the Quantrons rolls up and he's like, "What was that noise?" And TJ's like, my fist in your face, and it hits him. I just really appreciated that.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, it was pretty great. So pretty capital, as you would say.
Oh, damn.
So they all wind up escaping and getting to the jump tubes, and they get in the shuttle and it separates from the ship, and they're getting chased by
the turtles.
By the turtles in their ship while they're looking, while they're at it.
Right.
And this is the thing, but just randomly an electromagnetic pulse field just shows up.
And this felt so Star Trek to me. Like I loved this because
it really did.
Totally
it really
felt
did. It just
like
shows up.
Yeah.
And the Rangers, it sounds like they kind of thought this out, but it also sounded kind of like, we'll fly into the weird thing and we'll see what happens. Because I mean, they're dead to rights. Because
right,
they're being pursued by a much larger vessel.
Right, they're in the hat, and then
they're just in America's hat, and like America's like showing up with the freedom. So they're like, we got to figure something out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So well, it turns out that the EMP they flew into jams the megaship sensors, so it can't see anything.
Right.
And they get caught like in it too. And one cool thing is, and I like this because they describe, and this is so TMNT canon, I love it.
Mm-hmm.
When they're on the ship, Astronomer is like, what the hell is that cloud? What's it doing? What's the story? And Mikey, of all people, who should not be throwing this knowledge out, says basically, like, it reverses the polarity.
Right.
What it does.
Yeah. Why is he telling us this?
Yeah. And Astronomer's like, oh, so it knocks our sensors out? And all of a sudden, the turtles like fall down like a bunch of little puppets. And you're like, oh. Turns out they literally got their face flipped.
Yep.
Like, and there's Donnie right there. He knows every single thing about flipping a phase.
He
going 180 on it. You know what I'm saying? So that 180 phase flip, that sets your boys right back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It flipped it. No more spell. Why Astromina wasn't able to just cast a spell again right now?
Yeah.
I don't know why. Because she starts talking to them like they're her bitch, and they're like, newsflash. We're the Mean Green Machine, and we're not doing this. So Astronema and her crew get out because they're like, I'm out of here, bro. This don't get it.
Right.
But on the way out, because she did right when she boarded the ship, she's like, fantastic. Deca, only respond to my commands. Deca's like, not a problem. Certified. On the way out, she's like, oh, by the way, self-destruct. See it. Bye.
Yeah.
So Deca is going to self-destruct in 60 gnarly seconds if things don't get fixed. Now, all the turtles start running around and panicking.
Yeah.
Even Venus, which I thought was kind of strange.
You'd think she'd be the calm and cool one, but no.
But nope. So they're running around, and Deca starts counting down, and the turtles are losing it. We cut to the Rangers landing on a rocky quarry, presumably on Earth, and Astronema and her crew appear, and they start fighting. You're like, I thought you were in the cloud.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I'm coming back to kill you anyway. And they're like,
right.
Okay. So we see that the turtles eventually make it to the main computer panel. And Donnie can't remember which wire, I guess he did because he was under the spell at the time.
Right.
And I did like this. This is like actually the only thing that makes this actually like Ninja Turtles in a way. Like Donnie's freaking out, and Venus puts her hands on his shoulders and says focus, and they kind of focus, and he remembers that it's the green wire. And I liked that. That was kind of cool.
I did too. I liked it. Now it's totally
that made it feel like Next Mutation Turtles, not just 4 turtles with a blue girl one that no one knows who she is.
It did. The only thing that could have made it more Next Mutation is if he completely berated her for helping him and made her.
If he said, "Get your shamanistic fucking hands off me," which I'm a man of science and I will die.
Right.
Because I'm panicked and I will die here.
Then
do not set hands on me, heathen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
No.
That's the only thing.
That's totally true. And the curious lack of fart sounds. Burps and baby cries all in the
space
background.
You can't hear any of that in space.
No one can hear you fart sound, burp, baby cry. That's actually true.
Fact.
That's actually written on Neil Armstrong's gravestone. They just don't publicize it because no one really knows what it means. But that's a very good point. But maybe this is a little bit later, and Donnie. This is after the last episode of Next Mutation,
where they realize that they do
Donnie.
Need her.
Where they realize who needs her, we need her. So maybe Donnie's down. But I liked it because it felt like they gave her a little thing to do.
Absolutely.
And it was legit. And now, once again, if you don't know what the hell Next Mutation is, you're like, well, that girl has mind powers. And you're like, not really. But anyway, so I kind of like that. And I gotta be honest, it was kind of cool to see the Next Mutation Turtles without all the weird sound effects.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I hadn't
we've been it was around this time actually. Because I started thinking about, this is the first kind of real Next Mutation thing that's happened so far for the Turtles, that makes this unique.
Yeah.
And then I thought, I really enjoyed watching them without random grunts and fart noises in the background. I'm actually kind of really appreciating this.
Yeah.
And with that awesome Power Rangers music in the background, kind of cool.
It is. I agree.
So he cuts the green wire because he remembered, and it doesn't blow up. Disaster averted. It's all good. Back at the quarry battle scene, the turtles make their way down to wherever the fighting is. No idea. And they show up, and they're like, meh, 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 meh. And the Rangers are like, bro, you're brainwashed though.
Right.
But the turtles join the fight, and they start making jokes, and that's when I guess everyone's cool, for the most part. And they all fight them together. Now, I loved this scene.
Okay.
First of all, that image is awesome. Them all together.
Oh, them all together?
Okay. No. Them all teamed up. Super cool.
Yes.
I loved how they team up individual Rangers and Turtles for combos and stuff. Really, really well done.
Oh, yeah.
Also, it is so nice to see the Turtles fight in those suits with the cinematography like the Power Ranger cinematography.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You realize suddenly that the cinematography in the fight scenes in Power Rangers is 8 to 10 times better than what they got away with in Next Mutation.
Next Mutation feels like Batman 66.
It really does. Everything's
has its
tight.
charm. It has its charm, and it's cool, but it is a different thing to Sentai. But I think the reason why, or Sentai Rangers, but I think the reason why is because they had to match a lot of stuff with Sentai, so they had to keep consistency as best they could, and I think that's what made Power Rangers have to go to that level, whereas Next Mutation didn't necessarily have to.
That's true. They set the bar quite high. If they're importing the Sentai fight scenes, which are like supreme, and they're like, we gotta keep this going. But it's Saban, and it kind of bugs me. Like, okay, so just this shot on screen. I'm gonna nerd out for a second. Just this shot on screen. Remember, this is shot in 4:3. Okay, so standard, like not widescreen, 4:3.
No,
full screen. Look at the composition of this shot.
Yeah.
That's a widescreen shot, is what that is.
Yeah.
Now, I know that like we're cropping it a little bit so it looks more widescreen on the video, but in 4:3, it still feels like widescreen.
It still does. Yeah. I've got it on my screen right now, and it's because it's more in the shape that it should be on the other monitor I've got, and it still does have the same effect. It's
composed like a widescreen shot.
Right.
And the cinematography, it's cool because you always knew the Power Rangers cinematography was cool, but like seeing the turtles fight in it, I'm like, that gave me, it's almost a glimpse I almost didn't want to see,
like
where I was like,
future internet file from a different future.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, that could have been damn good. That could have been way better.
And these suits are in daylight too, which we're not used to seeing too much
we don't see the turtles in daylight, and the suits hold up.
They do. They're not bad.
They look good, and like I mean, by Next Mutation standards, look really good. And like, so anyway, so I'll stop nerding out, but like, it's really cool to see him fight with the professional Power Rangers camera crew. The cinematography, it looks great. I love that blue color that they kind of try to match with the film that they got from Japan. So everything's kind of blued out, but it makes the turtles look cool as hell.
It does.
Like, I just don't know. It's just, everything's great about it.
Yeah.
And so it's really cool because they kind of team up with each other, and it's really neat. So there's a moment at the end of the battle where it's like, everyone's like, yeah, hell yeah, certified, and Power Rangers Mighty Morphin in Space Aside, and they're all the time. But Andros is still like kicking back, like, I don't know about you. So then Leo's like, put it there, buddy. And then of course Andros is like, I trust you now. And everyone's like, oh, good, thank God. All right, that sounds great. You know what I mean? Like, let's do that. So they also, back aboard the mega ship, I guess, because they still need a lift back to New York.
Yeah.
But on the pretty as YouTube.
Oh, sorry.
That's a great subtitle.
I got lost in the screen caps. But this is the scene you were just talking about with Andros realizing that Don.
Yeah. Andros like does the same thing.
Yeah.
He hangs back, and then you can see the everyone's like visibly relieved when Andros is like, I love it because Andros goes, I believe you now.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, well, that's cool. Oh yeah, they're all happy.
Yeah,
look
great.
At Venus trying to mac. You know what I'm saying? She's like, I know you used to be the leader ranger, but you're still cool to me. And then your boy's like, I still make the same money. And she's like, oh, very wise. And they walk off in the sunset.
He's like, I could take you to Olive Garden still. So
yeah, like see for Venus, she's like, oh, I'm getting a bargain.
Oh yeah,
the stock just dropped on Blue Ranger.
Right.
And your boy's like, TJ's like, I am an actor that makes money, and it's the same money whether I'm the Red Ranger or the Blue Ranger. I don't care because it's not real. And Venus is like, well, what about me? And he's like, don't worry your pretty head about that. Let's just go to dinner. And so that's what happens. So yeah, Donnie apologizes about reprogramming Decca, and it's all good. But then Decca's like, oh, no hard feelings, but then shocks Donnie's anus.
Yeah,
with the purple light. That's a Dr. Otagon reference. With the red light.
Yes.
And burns his anus good, and everyone laughs. And then Mikey says, "There's one thing that he wants to do before he leaves."
Yeah.
And so we see the turtles jump down the jump tubes, and presumably ride on the Galaxy gliders with no vac suits.
No vac suits. Now we don't see any of the other ones on there, but Mikey gets a shot with him on it. and so at least one of them had it. Yeah.
No, what do you mean? They're all.
We don't
they're
see
all on
presumably, but we don't ever see them on that. Except we do see Michelangelo on his, but that's it.
It's assumed they're all on them.
It's assumed, absolutely.
But they just didn't want to have that. They just want to make up that many boards.
Yeah, they want to pay for that
for some reason. But yeah, and yeah, they ride off, and that's the end. And then Eric made a note about unless this is the official final episode where they are just unalived by doing this in space, and I'm like, yes, that would be the ultimate like killer right there. Where it'd be like they live this whole day, they meet the Power Rangers, and they're like, we want to do one more thing, and they're like, well, wait real fast, what do you want to do? And they just jump down the tubes without like saying anything else,
right?
And they're like certified. And that's about it.
This is Leo like realizing that he can't breathe, and he's like,
yeah. Leo's like,
and Donnie's got the same look. He's like, oh,
yeah. Donnie's like, I'm somehow freezing and exploding at the same time. I don't understand. And you just assume that they have some kind of projection field because well, that's the whole thing with the Rangers though. Yeah. Is like they have suits on, but those aren't environmental suits because like I don't they get affected by gas. I've seen it.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, right? Somebody's like, true. Oh, I'm stinky gas man. And they shoot like gas at him and they're like, I'm dead, basically, right? Like, so even though those masks and those helmets appear to be airtight, they obviously are not.
Right.
So they fly through space, but they're morphed.
Right. They're on the morph,
which we don't
the power protects them.
Yeah, we don't fully understand what like power set you get with being morphed, except you can take straight like tungsten rods to the chest and it just becomes sparks and you're okay.
Just sparks.
So like we know it does that, but like yeah, but, it's
I mean,
they don't really wear vac suits either.
Could Shinobi magic prevent you from dying in space exposed? I don't know. There's a lot I don't know.
She created active force fields on the show.
She did.
I just don't know if they're airtight.
Yeah, I don't know, and I don't know if they could withstand re-entry, like all of that. But
that's a whole nother question.
Yeah.
But you know they probably made it back down there somehow.
I assume so.
So this is the part that makes no sense to me is like earlier and this is the end of the episode by the way. So there you go. The part that made no sense to me a little earlier was how they get from the spaceship down from the megaship down to help the Rangers at the end. They warp down just like they're riding the gliders, but they're not.
Yeah,
the first time I thought that Astronema beamed them down, right? Mm-hmm. Like you're there now because that's her powers. Like she does the same thing with all of her monsters. She like beams them down and they start doing shit. So I get that.
Yeah,
but like how they get down the second time because Astronema was not down with that.
Yeah, no, she was not. She was already gone.
And they had a very glider-esque effect.
The only way I could think of is if Deca had some or Alpha 6 had something to do with it, but like there was no precedence for that. So
why would they like there's no precedent, and it also makes you like in the first episode, why would they take their shuttle down if they could just beam down?
That's true. Yeah.
Like they leave the shuttle docked because they're like, I'm not gonna bring this thing back to Earth and let Astronema shoot it from orbit.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know.
Make any sense.
It's weird.
I don't either.
But anyway, I hope the turtles are still alive.
I do too. But this is the last we're going to see of them.
That's literally the last we're going to see of them. Right there.
We've
finally done it, Eric.
We did. We finally did it. It's over with, at least until next week when we talk about the toys. But other than that, as far as the actual reviews,
you know what I mean. The actual
I know what you mean. Yeah. This episode... I thought this episode was great. I enjoy, everything you said about the suits with and the fighting and all that was excellent. It's a stereotypical like brainwashing episode when two sets of heroes meet, classic, misunderstandings and whatnot. Yeah. But like I really like this in space stuff. I think that their technology's cool and like the way that they implemented it. And the turtles looked really good. And like you said, and I hadn't thought about it necessarily until you mentioned it. But yeah, the absence of all of the sound effects and just obnoxiousness of that show really helped to like make them a little bit more palatable.
They kind of cleaned their act up a little bit, and
yeah,
I liked it. It's almost like, look, you can be gross, but if you're going to go to your grandma's, you got to like take a shower. You got to like put on a shirt that doesn't have holes in it. It's almost like Chaim Saban said that.
Yeah.
They're like, bro, we want to be on Power Rangers. Like, okay, you got to take a shower.
Right.
Be on your best behavior. You can't fall in the poopy. You can't find a something on your foot in the sewer. You got to take a shower, and you got to not be farting and burping and baby crying. Like, we're not doing that dumb shit. And they're like, okay.
No, this is honestly respectable production.
Yes, exactly. Like you will wear shoes. You know what I mean? Like it felt like there is time for socks.
There is time for
this
socks.
Set.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, up in Vancouver, you can just do whatever the hell you want. Down here,
right? In America's Hat, you can do that, but no.
Yeah, America's Hat, but down here, home of freedom. This is what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, but yes.
So, real quick,
it was cool to see him without all that shit.
It absolutely was. I somehow I was able to grab my my Ecliptor, which is pretty cool, and a Stromina figure, which she's really cool. But then the red one is actually doesn't have all the grid on them. They still have the angular body and stuff, but the lines aren't there. So yeah, I'm a big fan of this stuff. So anyway. Yeah, I
want to get one of those just to edge highlight it in black.
Oh yeah, you probably could. They're I think they're pretty readily available, but who knows? Yeah. So this was really cool. I really wish that. Oh, I love that Saban did this a lot with some of these shows that they intermingled and stuff, and I loved that. I wish it would have gone further. I wish it would have had like a more widespread universe and like it could have its own thing. And then now we get them with the new IDW stuff, and they partner with Boom Studios to do
so this isn't the last time they team up.
No, years from now, or from 98, we get them, and they wear like really awesome suits and just look so cool. And I just did my reviews of these on my Easy Open channel here on YouTube, so go check that out if you're so inclined. But yeah, and the books are fantastic. So they pair really well together, oddly enough. Like I don't fully understand it why, but the Turtles just have this thing where they can pretty much go with anything, and that's evident here and almost every other iteration that we've seen them branch out and mix with, and that's awesome. And I'm not gonna lie, it's got me wanting to watch more Power Rangers, but I don't ever really want to watch any more Next Mutation, even though I did enjoy it, enjoy our time reviewing it and watching it a lot more than I ever thought I would. But yeah, we
got a lot more out of it than I thought we would.
Oh,
honestly.
absolutely.
I really thought like, okay, this is gonna be real bad, and we're gonna it's gonna be like animated series fatigue, but like right now. Like right immediately. And I didn't really feel that way. I got fatigued toward the end of it, but but I mean, we got a lot to say from it. I mean, there was plenty of meat on the bone for it, and I think that if we're talking about Next Mutation in general, there's kind of a few episodes you could probably skip, but I mean, I think it's worth it, especially because IDW is now bringing them. Because they have access to everything, so they're bringing likenesses from that show over into the current comic continuity, which is really at this point submitted itself into like godhood, more or less, IDW comic run. So like this is your new canon, and they are pulling that stuff in, so it's cool to have all that knowledge, and that's kind of the whole point of our show.
I don't know. I really encourage anyone who hasn't watched it to go through it, because I think it's worth at least one watch through. And even if you don't watch the whole thing, I would at least watch the villain episodes that aren't Dragon Lord. I think he's the most uninteresting character on the show, and that like if you're going to go try to attempt any of this,
like the Van Mee trilogy, like is worth it.
I'd probably say the first 5 episodes to get familiar with Venus and see what happens to Shredder, and then the anything with Bone Steel, anything with Silver, anything with Dr. Queese, And then
well, now you're just naming all the episodes, to be honest.
Now I'm just naming nuts. Well, no, because there's a bunch of episodes where they were just the Dragon Lords trying to do something and whatnot.
That's true.
I think any of the other villains.
What about King Wick?
King Wick was a good episode. That was a good episode, but
King Wick's worth it.
It is worth it. It is worth it. But also having that knowledge of the other Dragon Lord episodes helps that. But still, I still think Wick is a cool villain.
I think if I hadn't seen it and I had to kind of get through Next Mutation because I wanted to kind of be on that journey and see, and I've actually seen that and not Mikey toys around that shit.
Yeah.
I would probably get together with a friend or two that were pretty cool, that were like down for like laughing and stuff, but also being like, word, like, you know what I mean? Like that was good.
Yeah.
And get together a few nights and crank a bunch of them out.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Just like watch it all night and like laugh about it and stuff and just try to get through it. Because there's cool stuff there.
It's definitely better with friends because then you can, commiserate, but also like pick up the good stuff that happened in it. And so, yeah, well, man, it feels, I'm kind of sad to see it go, but like,
yeah,
what a way to go out on. Like, this is like the last image that we're going to see of them is this. Like,
that's pretty good.
That makes me pretty happy to see him go out doing something cool instead of just like, now don't misunderstand me. The ending to Why Do We Need Her, whatever it was called. That was great. Like just them all in the sewer in a line and running towards the camera.
Yeah.
That was cool. But like this on the surfboard and being out in space and just whatever, like, I don't know. I prefer that to the other one, but still I had a good time. And so we want to know,
absolutely.
We want to know, did you enjoy this crossover? Yeah. And did you enjoy Ninja Turtles Next Mutation at all? Or just did our reviews help you enjoy the whatever bits you could get from it? Let us know. turtlesoupshow@gmail.com and tell us all your thoughts on Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles. We want to hear it all. You should be able to go to turtlesoupshow.com still, but I'm not sure at the moment where that's going to take you. It might take you to a Podbean website. It might take you to the old home of the internet.
That makes me want to check it now.
We don't know yet. So because I messed around with it at work today, and I don't know
It's loading. That's not a good sign.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah, it comes on.
Is it the old one, or is it the Podbean? Is it like a different one?
It's the Podbean one.
Okay. So at least it takes you somewhere. I'm having to relearn all of the internet lingo and all this stuff.
Everything up to 318 is on there.
Yeah, I think you can get the episodes.
You have the bottom is still like your title. It has like stock images. Of
it has all that on there. Yeah. So it's still in the works. But I was like,
and I don't know if it has have a menu here.
I don't know.
Okay, so one thing we need to do. Okay, we need. I mean, no, you've done a great job, dude. I mean, this doesn't take anything away.
Well, no.
I think we need to make it where you can navigate through the episodes, though.
Oh yeah, no,
because it's just a big list.
Well, we'll probably have to talk about this after the episode. But like, sure. I'm not sure if I'm wanting to keep the old blog style or if I'm wanting to do something new or what. But regardless, I think you can get access to all the episodes now. I think it shouldn't.
That's
be
the big thing.
problem.
That's what we always kind of wanted, because the one problem is we were having iTunes, for example, doesn't let you keep all your old episodes up.
It did, but I think now you can.
Now it does?
I think now it does. But there was a time when it didn't. Yeah. And
so the website right now appears to be up and stable right now, and we're going to be making little changes. But if you need these older episodes, this is definitely where you get them. Before we make everything super solid on other platforms, it definitely looks like it's here. Yeah. And I'm just going to try to play one and see what happens.
Uh-oh.
Error opening file.
Oh, geez. Okay. So, yeah, maybe not. But Farmer
we're working
Greg
on it, boys.
And we're going to get in the lab and we're going to get it sorted out. But at least, I don't know, something, it seems to be functional to some degree. But
no, we're getting there. We're getting there for sure.
We're on our way.
And like I said, email us, like Eric said. Reach out, turtlesoupshow@gmail.com for sure, and let us know. We're on the Facebook group. Let us know what's going on with the audio on your end. Or because the really cool thing is you guys all listen on different providers.
Yes.
So some people listen on Podbean, some are on Apple Music or Apple Podcasts. Some people are on the website. Some people are. So it's kind of cool to hear it, because we've caught little problems on like one platform before. because someone said, I listen here and it screwed up.
Yeah.
So let us know what the experience is. Is it up for you? And let us know, and we'll address it.
Yeah. And also, you can always get the episodes that we've live streamed here on YouTube. So yeah, if you're in, like aching for one, I don't know, that's a weird thing to say. Come on over to YouTube, like, subscribe, comment, do all that fun stuff. It helps us out a lot. And then find us on the socials. We're on a lot of them. And we're also on what is the thing called? Patreon. That's it.
Patreon.
Yeah, we're throw some pennies our way, and we'll throw some stuff back at you. I've got the shirts, and I've got there was something else that I was getting, but I've got everything else that I was trying to do, and then I got to make the magnets coming up pretty soon. But this website thing has just been taking up so much of my time. But got everything going. I don't think I have a shirt here to show, but it's pretty neat. It's a weird design, and I hope y'all like it. But yeah, if y'all want to get some cool stuff from us, you can go over to Patreon and find out. We've been making a podcast for a million years, and you can help us out and keep the lights on and help eventually get the website going again. And so thank you to all our patrons who've been supporting us all this time. And I think that's gonna do it for our coverage of the Next Mutation live action Ninja Turtle series. So yeah, we'll be back next episode with the toys from said series, and that should be a lot of fun. So
get your Chuckle Bus practice on, because
because it's definitely
gonna
be
a
big
there. Chuckle Bus. We're gonna need people there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So until next time, else time.
Certified S time.
Oh my goodness, y'all are killing me with some.
You guys
of
are
this stuff.
killing it in here.
It's so good.
It's crazy.
Oh man. Let's see.
Damn.
We got
Catch up with Chad is out here.
Yeah. So let me go back. Clemens just killing it.
He said that King Wick is technically the ruler of Canada, which I appreciate that. That's cool.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Learned something new. Is he on one
He
of
also
the
said,
forums?
I enjoyed you guys enjoying it about Next Mutation, which I'm like, fair.
That's fair. I appreciate that. Oh, Jake real quick asked if we would get a NECA 5-pack of the Next Mutation suits. Yeah, I could see them do it like you're saying. I could see them doing an SDCC thing, but I probably would. Just at this point, because of how much fun I've had reviewing the issues or the episodes here, but it would also greatly depend on like accessories and other things, like the presentation of it, which I don't know how they would do it or what they would do.
If it has Ernie Reyes Jr. head attack, like come with it. I mean, that.
Oh yeah, Well, if it has Shredder's reflection in his own like arm or something like that would totally do it for me.
Yeah,
but
that'd be cool.
but yeah, and I need that look of Donnie like looking at Dr. Queese. Like I need that too. So, but if they have if they put out a silver figure, yes, I'm buying that. No question. Absolutely. So John Clemens comes in with episode 319, Mighty Morphin Mind Control. Pink eye but worse. That's really good. That one got me. Let's see. Enter the Tingler.
Oh yeah, the Tingler.
Let's see.
This
is the one that I laughed out loud at this with a turtle. Episode 319. A turtle wouldn't have any concept of breast, for fuck's sake.
It's totally true, because it's like it's like, you know, turtle mom don't have breasts. Like,
well, Venus does. Venus totally does.
But I think what he's saying is that like he wouldn't have a concept. You have the concept, but here's the deal, right? The whole thing behind breast, right? Like they say, if you're, you know, with your, you know, like 50 psychology or whatever, is and I think a lot of it's true, is like, you know, we're nurtured from them,
right?
So all of a sudden we have this like weird connection, and as we become, you know, sexual people, we sexualize them, right? There you go. But the thing that is never accounted for is the fact that there's like animals that like don't
also do that, but then
have that mother connection. But then when they become next mutations and they get turtleified certified, then like why would Mikey like boobs? He has like no reason to. Like, there's like no reason to,
except for the fact that all of the media that he consumes, especially in the 90s, is probably trying to tell him that he should.
But can you? Though, can that cross your nurture? Do you know what I mean? Like, I think your nature and your nurture. Like, so nature and nurture are both telling you that like those ain't nothing to me.
Right, but you want to be welcomed by, you want to be a part of their world so much that, yeah, you would probably you've taken on so many of their other characteristics that you would probably. Could you what?
Like, okay, so all right, so imagine you are born onto an alien world, right?
Yeah.
Where like I'm trying to think of like a weird alien body part that you. So let's say like in this weird alien world, like you feed from like your mother's nose, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Like and so everyone feeds from their mom's nose, and then so noses are big, and different people have different noses, and all of a sudden you realize like as you grow up, like everyone's into these big noses, and the bigger noses, the better noses, and oh my god, look at that, and like swimsuits, they have just like a little string over their nose,
yeah,
and all this crap. Now tell me, with like your nature and nurture, because you're a human, you're raised a human, but as a teenager you go to this planet, and you're telling me all of a sudden you're going to be all over that nose now,
but you're
going to be like all like you're going to be that into it.
You're taking.
I still think that's a thing.
You're taking out the fact that Mikey is also, depending on the continuity, has some sort of human connection to him. If it's the animated series, then he's a doughy white guy. And then if it's any of the other ones, it's like some sort of human connection there. But regardless,
okay. So you're trying to say, okay.
So, but
okay,
regardless,
so you're trying
to
say is that the mutation, taking part of, depending on your origin story, taking part of Hamato Yoshi's like human DNA, or the kid's human DNA, or whatever, like you want to say, gave them the human half of them.
It could have, but
that
also
came with like genetic encoding that makes them like breasts.
It could also be that it's a thing where he's trying to he's wearing all the stuff, he's like buying all the comics, listening to all the music, doing everything he can to be human, because he can't be a part of that world. So it's one other thing. He might be faking it and might just be like, oh, I'm supposed to like this, so let me just do it. And then at some point,
you think Mikey goes that deep? You think Mikey's playing 5D chess?
I think he is. I think he is.
I think that John is right, and he opened up an unsettling issue with Mikey the Creep, because I can see you finding to them cross-species women attractive. I can see all that, but I do agree. I think the breast thing is a little much. I think that actually, the deeper you get, the less I buy the fact that he's into boobs.
I think that he realizes that that's an identifier for the opposite sex, and I think that he's very much shown that he's into the opposite sex. And so I think that he also has shown that he buys into commercialism and everything that was marketed to that age group. So I'm not saying necessarily that it's like we're going to get him on a lie detector test and he's going to be like, oh, you really don't like them. But I'm saying that like he sees that as an identity marker for a certain type of person that he finds attractive across the board, and therefore is maybe not necessarily on the same basic instinct that we have, but as full-blooded humans, but as someone who is got some form of human something in them. I think regardless, Mikey has shown that he is very much attracted to the opposite sex, regardless of species.
Oh, it's true. It's true.
So,
it's true.
Yeah.
I just think that we
it's
can't
a little
look
weird,
past this very good point.
So
because that's a good point.
So then Robbie comes in with Space Jocks and Shell Shocks, which is a hard thing to say, but I like that. Let's see what else we got in here. Jake with the Tighten Up Reality Gangster.
Yep.
John Clemens in Space No One Can Hear You hear fart sounds and babies. That's true.
It's true.
A machine does Donnie. Oh, jeez.
Turtle-fied Alpha 5. That's pretty good from Robbie.
Let's see.
I'm a man of science and I will die.
Oh, that's right. I forgot you said
that's really good. That's really good. Which I'm a man of science. I will die in this ship.
Let's see. What was the other one I really liked?
I can name one that made me like actually die when I read it. Space the Final Frontier.
That's the one. That's the one that got me.
I came back in and I was like that on that because that was ridiculous.
Yeah, that was Robbie. So yeah,
Robbie hit it hard.
Yeah, Space the Final Frontier.
Everyone hit hard with the titles. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that was excellent. So that one might have usurped Reality Gangster for me.
Yeah,
because that one's
my mind honestly wasn't even there.
Yeah,
that's so good. And I wouldn't even thought. I could have sat here for 100 years and not thought of that.
Yeah.
That might have taken it.
And I think the chat agrees.
Chat started to kind of agree. Yeah.
So Robbie, that's excellent. So yeah, I think we might have to go with that.
Final Frontier.
So good.
John Clemens says Final Frontier, triple S tier, do it.
Right. Let's see, I'm writing it down.
Yes, it is.
So
Robbie, this is Robbie's first episode title.
Oh yeah,
congratulations, Robbie.
Oh man,
it's a wild race to the end when this starts. I love it because John will be like, all right, like we're not even actually kind of done yet. Like we're kind of like, yeah, no, I thought it was really good. And like John Clemens is in the chat like, all right, boys, you know what the job is. You know what I mean? So when we come back, we're like flooded, which I absolutely love. But yeah, no, good one, Robbie. That one knocked me over a bit.
Yeah, no, that got me. So
I also like the reference to the Tingler.
Tingler's great.
I'm sad that we don't get to see Tingler anymore.
Yeah, he was robbed.
He was.
He got gone too soon. Some might say.
He got absolutely right. I just love that he showed up to be like Powerball, and the Rangers were like, "Oh, we're fucked," and he's like, "Yeah." Then it's like Turtles were like, "We're gonna play soccer with this and kill you with it," and he's like, "Oh,
yeah." Like we're like these other people. Like they do ninja stuff too, but like we have no powers. So yeah. So
pretty good.
I don't know. Yeah. Well, all right.
You want to run it?
Yeah. Space, the final frontier. Space.
You gotta say it with a straight face. You have to say it like Star Trek, like dead ass serious.
Space, the final frontier.
Imagine a Super 7 Ultimates Tingler. And then Robbie says Rex 1's evil cop brother. See, I was getting that cop off him with that dumb hat he had.
Yeah.
He looked like fat cop, but like it didn't work as well as Tingler. Tingler's hilarious.
Tingler's fantastic.
Yeah. So you want to run it? I'll run the number.
Sure.
I need your best, like Patrick Stewart, like space.
The final front tail. Oh, tail. Yeah. Dang it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. You ready?
Yeah, I think so.
Here we go.
Bobby Bonilla.
Hit a pitchfork, just so you get it on.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. This is Turtle Soup, episode 319.
Space, the final front tail.
I liked it. It sounded a little bit too much like Eric and less like the beginning of Star Trek. Like put a little like get up on the mic and put a little depth, like space. And it sounds serious, like
the final front tail. Is that better?
Yeah, something like that. A little less grim, but yeah, I think you're on it.
Okay, I'll add a little inflection. Yeah.
Yeah. This is Turtle Soup, episode 319.
Space, the final front tail.
That was pretty good. I like that one.
Yeah.
Did Preston start that?
I did
Who
it.
was it?
I did it somewhere. I think I did it at my church job, and one of the other guys recognized it, and I told Preston about it. I was like, "Oh yeah, I did this in public," and somebody totally knew what I was talking about, and I'm like, "Oh, that's awesome." Yeah. So we, Shannon, my wife, we started watching Jericho, and
nice.
Yeah, and I keep running the normal stuff. Jake, the paper.
It's all about Jake. It's all about Dawsey.
But she's like upset because he doesn't really get into that until like way into season 1.
Yeah.
And she's like,
he's just kind of quiet and stuff at the beginning of it. Yeah.
And I was like, it's gonna get there, but then like it's a lot of it is just me and Ryan used to talk about it on Friday nights, and then just run that shit.
Well, it's all about when he overcomes. It's all about. I think he starts his main shit when he starts trusting Jake. Like, at first, like they work together. Do you know what I mean? For the good of the town, but like he's still got a ton of secrets from Jake. Do you know what I mean? And it's very like he's doing his like he's playing his like friendly neighbor who's resourceful role. When it starts to go like Jake, if Paperclip's not in the door, Jake, like when he starts running that, like it's like dead serious. That's when he starts getting like that. But yeah, you have to wait a bit.
Yeah, it was a minute, but I told her that whenever next time she sees you, that you got to do the laugh, like I was like, Ryan does the best, like, well, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that laugh's really good. I'm so happy you're watching it. Like, God, I love that fucking show.
And she's enjoying it. So yeah, it's weird. It definitely hits a little bit with so many years removed. It hits a little bit different with especially the early episodes with the music.
Okay. So it's a little dated.
It's a little dated. It's a little bad. Oh, not
It feels
bad,
like
but
it feels like it's the mid-aughts.
yes,
and you can feel it.
You can feel it. You can feel it. It gets out of that eventually, but all the other hallmarks that make it delightful are still there. And yeah, like Stanley and Mimi's relationship.
Oh yeah.
It's
man.
so good.
You can't really fucking Eric and his wife.
Oh yeah, and that's rough. And so yeah, it's pretty good. But I think after this, I want to say that this is the last of the big three, probably besides Community, of the shows that like you and I bonded with. Well,
that we got in with, because you guys have watched Battlestar.
We watched Battlestar. We watched Warehouse 13. Now we're watching this. There's Dollhouse. Dollhouse is the other one we got.
Dollhouse is an important step. Dollhouse is a very important step on that journey.
And thankfully, she's loved all of them, so that makes me feel good. So that I think I'm going.
We were talking, so we're taking the kids through The Expanse.
Oh, okay.
And I gotta admit, at first, I was, because you always gotta think about Kara, because she's kind of trailing along behind, right? She's the youngest one, and you're kind of like, okay, like at 11, like almost 12, is she gonna can she like grab? Because The Expanse got a lot of stuff going on. It's very political, all this stuff.
Yeah,
she's really into it and like doing a really good job of keeping up. Sometimes you have to explain something, like she won't understand maybe why someone did something. You're like, well, don't think about this, and they're like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
So we now believe. Now we still have a couple seasons of The Expanse to do, but
okay,
we believe we could run Lost now.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Which I think if she can handle The Expanse, she can handle Lost.
Right. Okay.
That's an important step. No, your wife came preloaded with Lost.
She did. Yeah, and she enjoyed it.
But have you seen it all?
I saw the first couple of episodes that Brian came on. I think had a hand in, and other than that, I didn't really watch anything.
So having her take you through Lost would be, huge.
Yeah,
I don't know how. Well, first of all, let me just say, classic. So jealous that you're gonna be able to watch it for the first time. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I mean, because Jesus, and number two, it just depends on how long it's been since she's seen it. Because with a show like Lost or Battlestar, you want to make sure you put a lot of good time between you and it. Before a rewatch, you kind of want to be a little surprised,
right,
at events that happen. You remember, but oh wow, I totally forgot this happened then. You know what I mean? You don't want to be too backed up and be like, oh, yep, I feel like I just watched this. I know everything. I remember it shot for shot, almost what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm kind of there with like Sopranos. Like, I only watched Sopranos once, and it was like literally in the mid-aughts. So like I literally think like I'm good for a rewatch, and it would probably entertain me the entire time, because I almost forget what's going to happen every episode.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, because I tried to watch Battlestar, and then right after I watched it the first time, and I was like, "That's too soon. I can't do that." So then
I typically
this
do.
Time it was.
I think I've talked about it before. Jake says that they just finished Sopranos 2 years ago. It is a wild show. It's epic. It's really good. Yeah, I sometimes like to do a wraparound where I'll watch the first episode.
Yeah.
And Battlestar, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a time commitment because it's the TV movie, so you're kind of like,
right. So you're there for a minute, yeah.
But like you're there for an hour and a half. But like honestly, it's really good. Like that's a good wrap. Yeah. Lost also really works with a wrap like that. Like, because you come so far and then you go back to the beginning and you're like, holy shit! Like, that's really cool. John Clemens says he was super late to the Breaking Bad party. Got into it then. Better Call Saul. And got up right as that wrapped. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, my wife saw that and got into it, but I think I'm a little too. It's going to be a while before I'll ever watch Breaking Bad. Not that I don't think it deserves it. It's just it got way too overhyped for me. But I totally understand.
I tried to watch it when like around the time it was coming out, and the first 2 or 3 episodes, I had panic attacks during every episode, and I had to stop.
Oh, geez.
Like I don't know if it was something about me at the time. But that show did a really good job of like just something about Walter White, like finding out he's sick, and he's like really sick, and like he's got his like wife and his like kid in the wheelchair, and he's like everything's just so sad and
Yeah.
stressful. And then I seriously yeah, the first 3 episodes, I would have a panic attack in the middle of it.
Dude.
And it got to a
Yeah.
point where I'm like, I can't watch any more of this. And normally I can take high stress, intense drama, crazy shit. Normally I'm down. Some of Breaking Bad, the way it's made, it really hit home, and I was like, ugh. So I'm like, well, do I want to keep having panic attacks, or do I want to not watch it?
Right, dude. I had the same thing. Like something like it. I couldn't really explain it, but it was like really heavy, and I couldn't get through. But it was with Mr. Ed.